was that Passover. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach today. They pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there was testified me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Psalm 78 and 67. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph, chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yahudah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. He built the sanctuary like high, like the earth which he established forever. He chose David also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. Hey. From following the ewes great with young, he brought him to feed Jacob his people and Yasharal his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. So let's return to 1 Chronicles chapter 4. We got a lot to dive through. We're finna dive through it now. Let me ask y'all this here. Matter of fact, we finna read it. Shalom, man. I ain't got to ask you. We finna read it. I had to take some time to go through a lot of stuff this morning to make sure that we hey, where you going with that, cuz? Do you think rules don't apply to you, sir? Clearly you do. Clearly you do. 1 Chronicles chapter 4 and verse 1. The sons of Yahudah, Pharaz, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Do any of you understand the significance of Pharaz and Hezron? Let me just ask it this way then. Who doesn't know the significance of Pharaz and Hezron? Oh, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Do you even know who these men are? Yes. Oh, that's unfortunate because we just talked about it last night. Who in here knows who Pharaz and Hezron are? More, you probably would know Pharaz more than Hezron. Anyone? No one? It's a son of Judah. Genesis chapter 38, if you would. We'll go straight down to the end because we read a majority of this stuff last evening. Go back in there with that. Why do you think that you can just do what you want to do? I'm going to tell y'all this one time. If I catch you attempting to flee from your designated eating area, I will confiscate your food and throw it in the trash in your face. Now, you can try me if you wish, but you're going to be highly disappointed with your outcome and result. Genesis chapter 38. I got to start a little higher than that. Genesis 38 and 16. Oh, actually, I need 15. Well, actually, 14. She put off her widow's garments, all from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath, for she saw that Selah was grown, and he was not given unto him to wife. See, since y'all get like this here, I can just make it where y'all just niggas don't eat till I get finished. Because I'm about tired of all of y'all when it comes to that. It grinds my gears. I don't appreciate it. Y'all do too much whining about nothing. I need to get my location in order. We'll do double time. And it was told Tamar, behold, your father-in-law go up to Timnath to shear his sheep. She put her widow garments off from her, covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. When Yahudah saw her, he thought to her to be a harlot, because she covered her face. He turned unto her by the way and said, go, I pray you, let me come in unto you. For he knew not that this was his daughter-in-law. She said, what will you give me that you may come in unto me? He said, I will send you a kid from the flock. And she said, what will you give me? A pledge till you send it. Now, this is where we're going to pause, and we're going to take a little chance to look at it. First and foremost, kid. What do you know what that is, right? That is a what? A young goat. Gamal, Dalit, and Yod. And you can proceed. But make it swift, though, because we got the roll. I'm going to have a lot of time to sit around and ponder. Gamal, Dalit, and Yod. This is for a young goat. Anyone? Well, in that regard, you're going to look at it, the messenger's work of sacrifice. If you're looking at the sacrifice of a goat, or a goat being offered as a pledge. Pledge here is arabone, which is something that is a security. Y'all know what a security is, right? A pledge of security. What would be a modern day term for that? That's a stop. Yeah. Yeah. No. And the modern day term for that is collateral. She's asking for the goat for collateral. Collateral for payment. Because he didn't have the goat with him to give her for exchange for her vaginal services. That word is ayin, rosh, bat, u, and nun. It's pledge, it is security, it's given in the sense of exchange. That's why when you, for lack of a better term, when you put up a bond for somebody, most of the time, depending on the state or nature of the charge, they ask for somebody's home as a pledge or collateral. The fact, if you default on this, then I get to keep your home. Now, he's going to pay her this, and she said he's going to give her a pledge. She's about to ask what he has to give for her to hold until he brings the goat. These are the things that he will get. He said, what pledge shall I give you? She said, your signet, your bracelets, and your staff that is in your hand. He gave her and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. So do you not remember what those three things are significant of? Signet, bracelets, staff. So you have to remember, he come in unto you. This is what he gives you in exchange till he come and bring you the goat. The payment, if you will. First and foremost, signet is a word that you should already know. That is katham. That is a seal. That is a signet. That is a signet ring. What is a signet ring used for? Well, I ain't said nothing.
I don't know what it is. It's like if people pass them down.
Oh, no.
I thought the seal ring what they signed off and sealed the letters.
That is what they seal covenants and documents with. So a katham, which is kat, u, tau, and mean, a signet or a signet ring is symbolic of covenants. That's symbolic of a covenant. Bracelets. Bracelets here is pathil, and that is a cord, a thread. It's twisted. It's a bound bracelet, lace, line, and ribbon, and wire. So this is what should come to your mind. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Okay, cut that light on. I ain't got no light. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 7. Then I returned and saw vanity under the sun. There is one, and not a second. Yea, he have neither child nor brother. Yet no end of all his labor, neither is his eye satisfied with riches, neither for whom do I labor, bereave my soul of good. This is also vanity. It is a sore travail. Do y'all understand what that means? Because we read about this actually in some of those genealogies. He is telling you that there is a man that is one, not a second. What does that mean with not a second? He has no heir. He has no heir whatsoever. And he said, there is yet no end of all his labor. So there is no end. When we look at end, let's look at what word they use here for end. Let's see if it's agara for end here. So at end, you have kates, kuf, and sod. And that is an end of space or end of time. So he has no end of his time. His eye is not satisfied with riches. And he doesn't have the ability to say, whom do I labor? You know what that takes you to? That's just the first thing to click in your mind would be Genesis chapter 15. Do you know what was stated in Genesis chapter 15? Abraham said, I have no heir in my house, except for my servant Eliezer from where? Damascus. See, this is something that, again, I mentioned this last night. And you can see this in modern day society. You know what I'm saying? Most women do not want to be married because legacy means absolutely nothing to women. It means absolutely nothing to them because they don't get to carry on anything. See, they'll get on the internet and say breaking generational curses and generational wealth and all that, but that's just talk because that's for them. A woman doesn't grow up and think about, I need to leave a lasting legacy behind me to continue on my name and my DNA. So that's not something that clicks in a woman's brain. So that's why women only get married for the aspect of the attention and the security that procuring a husband can provide. Men think about marriage and want to be married because that is the best way to build a legacy. You can't build a legacy by having kids from 2-3 random women who you're not married to. It's very difficult to procure a legacy in that fashion because you can't be under the roof to properly rear those children in the fashion that you want them to be taught in. I just seen individuals having this conversation and they were talking about men not wanting to pay child support because they believe it's because it doesn't give them control over the woman. And in actuality, men don't care about paying child support. They just don't want to give the money to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you'll see dudes say, I'd rather pay for the daycare directly. I would rather pay for this directly because I don't want it to pass through your hands. Because you should not have the ability to benefit off my resources and then do whatever it is that you want to do because you feel like you have my offspring. Because if you feel like that, you should just give that man his offspring. See, I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I told you this before. Once a child hit 5 or 6, ain't nothing else Mom Deuce can do for him. That's male or female. Ain't nothing else she can do for him. You ain't got no system, structure, order, discipline, guidance, or any type of large level of wisdom and understanding outside of teaching that little girl how to be a wife and a mother to give them children. And the numbers show that children are better off with their father than they are with their mother. Children who are in a single father home have drastically less mental problems, emotional problems, less incarceration, lower incarceration rates, all that compared to those who were raised by their mother. See, that's just the propaganda they tell you, put that out there to make you believe that. Because they know that. That's to minimize the aspects of fatherhood. I think I read y'all the study from the CDC that says Black men are the most involved fathers of all races of men in America. And that the aspect of that Black men don't take care of their kids and all that stuff, that junk is propaganda. It's propaganda. It is not reality. That's why when you tell women I don't know niggas who don't take care of their kids, that's why they be shocked and don't believe it because you've bought propaganda. Because we already had a conversation. It ain't too many dudes that know a whole bunch of dudes who don't take care of their kids. and hang with them and Shalom, Brother Craig, and cool with that. Niggas get ostracized for that. You're not considered to be a man in a group of men if niggas know you don't take care of your kids. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is not, nobody's stamping that. Again, it's propaganda. That's what they tell you. Niggas don't take care of their kids. Oh, they make women single mothers. That's because most women don't want to be married. It's not because dudes just want recklessly, wantonly spreading seed. Most women don't want to be married. And if you were married and got a divorce, you're not a single mother. You're just a divorced mother of children. See, they like to lump everybody in the same regard. You know what I'm saying? If you were married or your husband died, you're not a single mother. You are a divorced woman or a widower. That's what you are. That's a single mother is an unmarried woman with children. That's what that is. There's no way around that. You know what I'm talking about? And the child has a higher rate of failure in that environment. It just is what it is. Because that woman doesn't have anything to give. And most of the men in here know that. Yeah, your mama might have loved you, but tangible things that you could have took to survive outside on the other side of them walls, she ain't had too much to give you. And that's not her fault. You know what I'm talking about? Because she's supposed to be led by a man. So that because it's supposed to be the man there to give you that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, now you got some boys out here that's rebellious. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do what they want to do. Oh, man. He said he only know one dude that don't take care of his kids, and he hate to see him come. I'm just telling you, like, narrative and reality is two different things. You know what I'm saying? Because narrative say all women want to get married, but then when you run across women, they don't want to get married. And they don't want to get married because they perceive when they get married that they got to give their life up to the benefit of a man. That means that they don't see any value in a man, which means they don't see any value in Yahudah. Because that means I want to direct, lead, and guide my own life, but still want the protection and provision of a man when I decide that I want it. Oh, that's not how that works. That's how people serve the Lord. But look at what he's going to tell you right here, though. That man say, what, for whom do I labor and bereave my soul of good? Look who he at, because that's why I said that, right? Why men want to be married, because they're laboring for something, and their labor is to give it to their offspring. You know what I'm saying? Men begin to build to labor for the offspring before they've even identified a woman to marry, much less inseminate, because they're already trying to put themselves in a position to provide for their legacy. Women want money for themselves. They ain't thinking about 3-4 generations from now. They're thinking about themselves. That's why did that child know she'd make all this money? She was like, yeah, you ought to, people who got money ought to stunt. You ought to show off. That's how you get killed. See, men know better than that. You know what I'm saying? You can't pull up. I remember when Fernando O'Brien, I remember that nigga who played for the Jags. That boy going to them strip clubs off Main, pulled up in that Lambo, and them boy put that pistol to him and took his Lambo. Because you can't pull up. Only women think if you show off your stuff that's going to motivate people. It doesn't. And a dumb nigga think that, because some men think that, okay, I got to roll it, bro. You thinking, no, that's not motivating nobody. That's motivating them to rob you. I mean, what you think gonna happen if you throw raw steak in a pen full of starving dogs? What you think gonna happen? You can't go in the area of poor people and flash wealth and opulence and don't think that they gonna come find you. Because they starving. You could be breaking bread with everybody. They don't care. They gonna be like, shoot, we doing all the work. Why he get all the money? That's how they think. Verse 9, 2 are better than one because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he fall, for he have not another to help him up. If two lie together, then they have heat. How can one be warm? Do y'all remember that is right this here about somebody being warm when two laid together? Two people laid together and somebody became warm out the deal. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Listen. Listen, you so? You telling me? Or you asking me?
like somebody else too. Somebody else that happened to.
Just like that boy did in the barbershop.
Just like that boy did in the barbershop. You pulled that fire out.
Oh yeah, that was it.
That was. I knew that had to be a police officer. He whipped that pistol out and shot Cuz, and it was too. And they say Cuz had just killed somebody, so he came in there and did that. Shoot, he had already caught him too. He was going for the third. Matter of fact, he did get the third. He killed that nigga in the barbershop.
He did that? Okay.
Yeah.
I seen him bro went down. Like,
oh no, when he came in and up that fire, he shot the dude.
Yeah.
And then dude shot him. But when he came over there and kicked him, I said, that's the police. That's police clearing the scene. Shoot, police already here.
I ain't gonna lie, as soon as he did, we seen him right for the door, but make sure nobody else coming through.
But they were finna get lit up. Come on, he was right though. It was a list. He just wasn't confident.
No,
he wasn't confident. 2 Kings chapter 4,
you got both dice
verse 31. You over there drinking wine coolers?
It's not. This is sparkling grape.
That's great news.
Because you over there drinking wine cooler talking about that. Shalom, Sharon.
I don't drink that.
Make it 30. 2 Kings 4 and 30. And the mother of the child said, as Yahudah living as your soul live, I will not leave you. And he arose and followed her. Gehazi passed on before them and laid the staff upon the face of the child. There was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him and told him, saying, the child is not awake. When Elisha was coming to the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore and shut the door upon them twain and prayed unto Yahudah. He went up and lay upon the child and put his mouth upon his mouth. When you're looking at putting the mouth upon his mouth, that means his words is his words. Putting his eyes upon his eyes. You know what I'm saying? You've allowed me to behold wondrous things. You open my eyes, you behold and allow the wondrous things out of your law. Now you see as Elohim the seed. His hand upon him hands. Now you labor as Elohim labor. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. You know what I'm talking about? So you can't be warm alone, because if the child waxed warm, what does that mean? That means he's alive. You ever touched a dead body? That dead body ain't warm. Guess what? You pretty cold. You ain't got no ruach in you. You good as dead. Come on back a second. Ecclesiastes 4. You all right? You having a contraction? You're breathing pretty heavy. It's laborious for you over there. Because we don't know nothing about birthing no babies. I done seen some niggas and some strong niggas birth babies before 911 got there, and I give them all the respect in the world. That's why I might have passed out right along with them. I ain't one for blood. I done seen niggas get shot, but I don't care for that. Most blood I ever seen, I told you my homegirl got shot in her vagina. That's the most blood I ever seen in one place. I'm glad I ain't see that live. I came up after the fight. All I seen was just blood everywhere. I'm like, what in the world? She lived though. She ain't alive now, but she ain't died from that.
She had kids?
No, they told her she would never have kids, and she did have kids after that. They definitely told her she would never have kids, and she did. I told you about it before, man. Nigga knocked on the door. She opened the door. Bah! With a 4.5.
Big bullet.
Big power. Yeah, I say I came up after the fight. I'm like, well, I'm glad I wasn't here to see that. Like this here, that might be etched in your brain for a long time. Verse 9, Ecclesiastes 4. 2 are better than one because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. That's why he say, and Mashiach who's able to keep you from falling. But if you do fall, he there to pick you up. He say, but woe to him that is alone when he fall, for not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, they have heat. But if one be, how can one be warm? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. A 3/4 cord is not quickly broken. When you see with that bracelets, that's what that translated to, was a cord. Now see this one here, it's got shalash, which is to do 3 times, divide in 3. And then of course, cord. Which is kut, a cord, a line, a string. Let's return back to Genesis 38 where we were before. So what does that cord signify? That cord signify having access to the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. Matter of fact, let's just do it like this here. 1 John chapter 5. You make it quick. 1 John 5 and 6. We still holding 1 Chronicle chapter 4 and Genesis 38. We're going to take this trip for a reason because I'm just going ahead and let this be known. Pharez had Hezron, and the line of David comes from Hezron. That's who the line of David comes from. So everybody else you see mentioned in 1 Chronicles 4, and it starts diverging to this person and this person, they're not of Pharez and Hezron, which means they're not of David. David comes from Pharez and Hezron. So that's the line. That's why you've seen Pharez name mentioned in Matthew and in Luke, because that's where that is the kingly line in Judah. There's only one kingly line in Judah, and that comes from Pharez. It starts with Pharez because the man who we read about last night, Nashon, the son of Aminadab, I guess you know what line he come from. What line do you think he come from? He was a prince. He was a ruler. He came from Pharez. That's the line that he come from. Now you noted that the first ruler in the wilderness of the tribe of Yahudah was Nashon, son of Aminadab, who is of the line of Pharez. Every ruler of the tribe of Judah come from the line of Pharez. Out of all David's sons, none of them are counted in the line of the rulership except those that come from Solomon. Adonijah ain't counted. Absalom ain't counted. None of his sons are counted as being of the kingly line, just Solomon's seed. You should know that from the promise that he made to David when he told him, Solomon, your son, is going to sit on my throne, and I'm going to be to him a father, and he going to be to me a son. All David's sons were disqualified right then and there. The line go through Solomon. Why? Because that's who he chose. He chose one individual person out of the line of Judah each time, and this is the people who I'm dealing with. That's why when dudes be like, fourth tribe, we the kingly tribe, those are people who lack understanding, that don't even really understand, because you're the tribe of Judah does not mean that you are the kingly tribe. And you can't prove you are the house of David, so you might as well just keep that to yourself. It would better that you be born of the son of Elohim, and then you could certainly say that you were king. That's why the text says that he redeemed us to be kings and priests, because by proxy of being born again, you would be of the house of David. Nevertheless. And we could be able to prove that. You wouldn't be of the house of David by flesh, but being born of someone who is of the house of David and be his son, you will be considered to be of the house of David in the natural line if you wanted to take that route. Is that clear? Do you understand that point?
Jonathan's son.
Jonathan is of the tribe of Benjamin. So there would be no way that he could even be of Pharez to begin with.
I was saying how David looking after Jonathan's son.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. When it comes down to that seed, that's all that matters. And Jonathan, now he made a covenant to be kind to Jonathan's son, but they ain't got nothing to do with Jonathan's son ever sitting on no throne. Because at that point, Yahudah hadn't even made a covenant with David that his son would sit on the throne when he made that covenant with Jonathan. First John chapter 5, verse 6. This is he that came by water and blood, even Yahushua HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Ruach that bear witness, because the Ruach is truth. But there are three that bear record in Shamahim: Abba, the Debar, and the Ruach HaKodesh. And these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in the earth: the Ruach, the water, and the blood. And these three agree in one. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Elohim is greater. For this is the witness of Elohim, which he have testified of his son. He that believe on the son of Elohim have the witness in himself. That he that believed not on Elohim have made him a liar, because he believed not the record that Elohim gave of his son. See, there, that go to what I told you, what my homegirl asked. Yes, sir.
Does the water
No. No, the water is the literal water that occurred in Exodus 24 with the sealing of the covenant, and then would turn around and manifest it again when he got hit in his side and blood and water came out. This is what, like this here, because somebody else I know put that out there too. She just added the caveat of if he died for our sins. See, this is the thing, right? When people don't understand. I know she don't know no word. It shows you the gross lack of understanding that people possess. Niggas like, oh, it's an allegory. It's this, it's that. The white man did it. This, that, there, and the third. That's just people. They really don't know what it says. Because like my homegirl was like, oh, well, you answer that intelligently and not with Negro spirituals. She only said that because when you ask people questions about the text, that's how they get. They can't really explain to people what this means. Okay, why didn't he sacrifice Satan? First thing first, I would ask yourself, why would you think killing Satan would solve the problem? But then I get why you would think that, because you think I'll take it. Well, if Satan evil and evil in the world, just kill Satan, evil go away. Satan ain't got nothing to do with evil. But that's what people don't know. See, people don't know that. They don't understand that. So you have to remember that. And it's why it's simple as tell them. See, baby, Yahudah don't take sacrifices with blemishes. So Satan has a blemish. He's a liar and a murderer. He has evil favoredness. That's an abomination. He's not accepting that. He's going to reject it. Do you not understand that people don't even know or have any type of wisdom or understanding to know that Yahudah don't take any and everything? That he will reject an offering? People think that God takes every prayer request and anything you bring in. And you know human beings don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm mentioning this here because you have to understand you can't have the mindset of thinking, why this nigga don't know this? Because they have not been taught. He said, how can they believe on whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without a preacher? They've never heard these things. They've never been taught these things. Their only point of reference is the church house. So they're going to equate everything with the scriptures according to what they heard or seen in church. They have not heard the word properly. They have not been taught the word properly. They have not seen the word divided properly. They have no idea. This young woman didn't know anything about there was rules to sacrifices. Do you know what I'm talking about? They had no idea. What you mean? Oh, no, he don't do that. That's not what he does. Then mention something else. I believe the stuff they teach. Well, baby, he already told you broad is the way. You know what I'm talking about? You have to remember that people don't know. A brother this morning, he posted that jump breakdown of Revelation 17. I think he said the beast that is, which was, but yet is not. He said that was the European Union. I say, brother, but you got to understand, he don't know. That is standard doctrine out here. You understand? When you go to breaking down that beast and all this, that, and the third, that's standard doctrine. That's standard doctrine. Oh, it's the Roman Empire. I say, brother, that ain't what that means. I say, let me share something with you. See, this is the difference. Y'all know it said Yahushua was, is, and what is to come. Y'all know what that means. You know what it means when it says the beast was, is, yet is not. You understand what that means. So you have to understand that when you talking to other people, they don't know what that means. They don't know that this means that this man is going to mimic God and say he God. That's why it says yet is not. That's why I be telling y'all, you're going to be surprised how many people are going to be deceived because they really don't know. And we want to make all this stuff be about all these other things. And boy, that jump really down to, do you believe in Yahudah or do you serve idols? That's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to. I tell y'all that over and over again because that's the reality of the play. Everything the beast is going to do is relating back to worshiping another God. And if you don't know your God, you're going to worship another God. I don't care what you say out your mouth. I don't care how many Sabbaths you show up at. I don't care how many feast days you come to. I don't care how much you read this book. If you don't believe it, understand it, and actually manifest it, when that man pop out, you're going to follow him. You're going to follow him. You can sit around here and skin and grin, and niggas in here faces and think that junk cool, but boy, you're going to hell by yourself. You know what I'm talking about? You have to make sure your soul is secured and locked in. You know what I'm talking about? A nigga want to be over there with some folly over there, you better let him be over there with that folly by his damn self. Because they ain't going to be coming up with that with my homeboy. He going to like, you can homely go to hell with him. This is how that goes. What I need anything else? I don't need nothing else. Come on back to Genesis 38. We got the staff should be easy. What does the staff represent? Y'all know? Put your shirt down. Get it out your mouth. Get your shirt out your mouth. Get your shirt out your mouth.
Listen, man.
Messing your clothes up. Y'all don't know what the staff represent? Rulership, chastisement, leadership, guidance. Verse 19, Genesis 38. She arose and went away and laid by her veil from her, put on the garments of her widowhood. Yahudah sent the kid by the hand of his friend, the Adulamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where's the harlot that was openly by the wayside? They said, there's no harlot in this place. He returned to Yahudah and said, I cannot find her, and also the men of the place, that there was no harlot in this place. Yahudah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and you have not found her. It came to pass about 3 months after that it was told to Yahudah, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, have played the harlot, and behold, she is with child by whoredom. Yahudah said, bring her forth and let her be burned. That's your first instance to let you know that whoredoms can get you cast in the lake. And also, what will happen to the whore of Babylon? She shall be what? Burned with fire. When she was brought forth, she said to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, I am with child. She said, discern, I praise thee, who are these? The signet, the bracelets, and staff. So take this here, right? She said, I am carrying the seed of the man who owns the covenant, the thread, and the rulership. Yes. See, that's how you seal a covenant. Do you see that there? So what is this pointing us to? That there has to be evidence that you have conceived or been or with child with the word, if you would, as forth as the house of Yasharal, that the seed or the word of he who praises is present. Let's continue even further. Yahudah acknowledged them. She had been more righteous than I, because I gave her not to Shelah, my son, and he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins in her womb. It came to pass when she travailed that put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. It came to pass as he drew back his hand that, behold, his brother came out, and she said, how he be broken forth, this breach be upon you. Therefore his name is called Pharez. Afterwards came out his brother that the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. So what does this tell you? Pharez literally means breach or breaking forth. Now, who was supposed to be the firstborn, or who the midwife believed were going to be the firstborn? Zerah. But someone ended up coming out and breaking forth and overtaking him. Let's look at Pharez's name in more detail. Peretz, breach. Pei, Rosh, Sod. Lil Joe, leave her alone. Go back in, and the other one say, wow, I'm coming out first. If she ain't gonna give you none, get off the refrigerator. Get your hand off the refrigerator. Get your hand off it. See, you think somebody playing too. Find somebody to play. Silence yourself. Well, that's what you get. Sean got the word of Elohim is the way. Anybody else? You finished? Have you finished? Are you finished? Are you finished? Have you completed your cry? Thank you, sir. Next time you'll learn. Next time you will learn. Let's come over here to Isaiah 58. and 10. The word of Elohim is the way. He that come through and bust forth, or the breach came out first. And of course, as we're going to see that he's coming from the house of David, he's going to be the repairer of said breach. Isaiah 58 and 10. If you draw out your soul to the hungry, satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall your light rise in obscurity, and your darkness shall be as the noonday. Yahudah shall guide you continually and satisfy your soul in drought, and make fat your bones, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters fail not. And they that shall be of you shall build up the old waste places. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations, and shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. Well, let's look at restorer of the breach, if we would. So restorer is what we want. And guess what restorer is? A word that you should already know. Shu. So he's going to cause the breach to do what? Turn back. Let me ask you this here. Y'all remember this here. When they were bringing up the Ark of the Covenant, right? What did David say? What happened with him? What did they have going on in the time of David when they were trying to bring up the Ark? What they had going on? Or you don't recall? Somebody died because there was a breach. It was a breach upon Yahudah because they did not what? Do it after the what? The due order. Somebody had to come and repair the breach. Again, the breach is a breaking forth, and Pharez is symbolic of the repairer of the breach. Yahushua is the repairer of the breach. Now, when we look at this in this aspect, there were breaches in the house of David. Does anyone recall how there were breaches in the house of David? There were multiple breaches in the house of David. You had a breach with Adonijah. Why did Adonijah have a problem? Because according to birthright, he was supposed to be king. And he tried to make himself king, but that rulership had already been given to Solomon. There was a breach in the house because of Absalom. There was a breach in the house because of his son that raped his daughter. Y'all don't remember that? You remember that? You know what I'm talking about, Monica? Oh, you didn't know about the man who raped his sister? I just mentioning that because, you know, dudes be mentioning like rape is a small matter in the text. Can anybody tell Monica what happened to the young man who raped his sister? Does anyone remember what happened to the young man who raped his sister? They killed him. See, according to our law, if you rape a woman, what is that offense equal to? Murder. But see, this is the reason why I'm putting this out for a reason. Y'all already know this. Do you understand that 99% of the people who speak on the word don't know that? Don't know that according to the law of Yahudah, a rapist is worthy of death, they believe that it's acceptable. The Bible don't say nothing about it, but it does. Yeah, her name was Tamara. It does, though. That's what I'm saying. People say stuff, but they don't actually know what it says. So let's put it to you this way. Let's take the little white boy that just beat his case. And let's just sit here and let's just look at this as far as Yahudah is, because I've seen a lot of brews, they upset. I don't know what you're upset for. Let's say that Yahudah used that white boy to kill those two men for judgment for things that they had done. Does he not say that the wicked are his sword? Who are you to tell Yahudah how he gonna deal with wicked people? Now, one of those men allegedly was a child molester and a rapist. So if Yahudah saw fit to use this white boy to execute the judgment that his offense requires, who are you to speak against it? Because you don't know why Yahudah allowed that to occur to this particular individual on that day. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I'll say this here. No matter what the white boy came around there for, if a nigga hit you, if you hit a nigga in the head with a skateboard and he got some fire, you ought to prepare to be shot. Because if I got a pistol and you hit me with a skateboard, I'm going to shoot you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to square off and fight with you. And I got some fire on me. Well, they hit that cracker in the head with a skateboard. That cracker gunned him down. He gunned him down. People are looking at why he came out there with the pistol. I don't care what he came out there for. Do you know what I'm talking about? But if you hit a nigga in the head with a skateboard who's holding an AR-15 in his hand when you hit him, you got to know you're going to be shot. But Buddy did that because he probably looked at that cracker and said, oh, he a coochie. He soft. He ain't going to do nothing. And I'm telling you, a nigga with a gun who is scared is going to shoot you. For no other reason but to get you up off of him. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't finna sit here and let you beat up. He already scared. He finna bang, bang. And you like, how can he do that? If that was a 17-year-old black boy. See, I hate a nigga who do that. That's whole talk. The minute you start giving an equivalency, if what a black man did it, you have already in your subconscious declared that you believe that you are inferior to another group of people. You know what I'm talking about? As a man, you should never think that way. That was a black boy who did it. It don't matter. Because guess what? If this was your land and one of them did it, you were going to kill it. Just like they going to kill you. You understand? Because when Moses killed that Egyptian, them Egyptians was ready to kill him. You know what I'm saying? They was ready to lock him up.
That's what that makes sense. Though. It's been one thing. It was the practice killing. Niggas that got off.
It was white on white crime.
Yeah. That's what that. You can't even play part of that point.
And at this point, and they were rioting because another sexual abuser had been shot by the police. That's what they were rioting for. Another sexual predator who had been shot by the police. This is what we standing up for. I ain't standing up for no sex predator. Nigga, you ought to be. But these are the same people that say if somebody molest or rape somebody, they ought to be killed or castrated. Well, shoot, the white boy did it for you. I put that in there because he was live. He ain't really getting no good. You see, Kwame was hanging down there with Nate, them boys. Them boys was out there. Yeah, I put a picture in there, man. Well, screenshot it that he was live. The boy, the IUIC was definitely out there in front of Glenn County Courthouse. We the people. I got the flower right here, brother. You know the boys gonna come out the door without their flowers. You know, black natives and Hispanics. Native Americans and Hispanics. We're the children of Israel.
For sure.
How to be Hebrew. Come on, man. Shoot. Them boys got a doggone they got a book to tell you how to teach the word. Let's look at Restorer of Paths. I believe Restorer of Paths is going to be Shub again, and it is. Paths is Natib, Noon, Tau, U, Bat. It is path, it is pathway, it is traveler. So you see, he causes the traveler to turn back. This is why Farek, because the kinghood or the rulership from Judah came from his who? His firstborn son. Even though the thread was put upon the secondborn son, but see, this is where you come out at. Now, this way you get tricky. This way you get tricky. Can y'all explain, or do you understand, I should say, the significance of Perez coming out first and Zerah having the thread being the secondborn, how that relates to Yahusha? Because it's there. It's there. We got to think back of what the cord means and what we already discussed. I know it's a little tricky. It's okay.
I always look at that story when John the Baptist in the ocean. She said he was before me.
I can see why you would say that. The only difference is because Zerah has no significance. He ain't talked about, he ain't mentioned, he's basically irrelevant.
I was just saying the story how it played out.
No, I got you on that one.
I thought you said the right name was the red.
No, so Zerah got the thread on his hand. He stuck his hand out first, and the midwife put the scarlet thread on his hand.
Second Adam.
That what Saran just stated. But you know what it really is, where it messed you up at? Because it's really the reverse. With Zerah coming out to repair the breach, Perez ends up being the second Adam, and then Zerah ends up being the son of Adam because he come out second in regard with that thread because he the one who got to actually be offered. Because Perez is going to fulfill the breach because you become a king through who? Perez. Because Perez had Hezron. See, there's two Hezrons, and we're going to look at that. He did. But in the significance to Mashiach, it's going to be opposite because Zerah got that thread on his hand. Remember, the scarlet is symbolic of what? Sin and blood. So, though he sought to come out first, he was what? Supplanted or overcame, if you would. Because Perez is the repair of the breach. Mashiach didn't repair the breach until he resurrected from the dead. And that is when you were able to turn the pathway back for the traveler. And to turn back the breach or the bursting out. The bursting out is the bursting out of death. That's when the breach is repaired. That's why it's the opposite. He got that thread on him because he's supposed to came out first. But I forgot what Zerah gave me. Listen. Let me get back over there. We got to do all that. I definitely want y'all to know that. You see two Hezrons in here. The one in Reuben doesn't matter. It's not the Hezron that we're concerned with. When you have Zerah, you have rising. You have the breach or the bursting out and rising. See, he who rose was supposed to be. Also, it show you how Perez is slain from the foundation of the world. Woo! Let's come back to 1 Chronicles 4. We're going to come back and look at Ruth 4 also. Because did you not recall it mentioned Perez and Hezron last night, if you remember. So again, the sons of Yahudah, Perez, Hezron, Carmel, Hur, and Shobal. Reiah, the son of Shobal, begat Jahab. Jahab begat Amahai and Lahad. These are the families of the Zorathites. These were the father of Etam, Jezreel, Ishma, Edbash. And the name of their sister was Helspone. Penil, the father of Gedor. Ezer, the father of Husha. These are the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Araphah, the father of Bethlehem. Did y'all know that when they say Bethlehem or Araphah, that Araphah was an actual person? We're going to look at that in a moment. Araphah is an actual person who Bethlehem, his name was attached to Bethlehem. Y'all do remember what Bethlehem means, correct? The house of bread. But let's go back and let's look at Hezron and Ruth chapter 4.
The name that was attached to Bethlehem, you say he's from Judah?
He's from the tribe of Judah.
I think you said that Michael 5 and 2, he said Bethlehem, he's right or something.
Araphah, yeah. That's his name. You can pick it up in 10. 4 and 10, Ruth 4 and 10. Just going to run that back. I had pre-ordered this about a month ago. That junk came with a bar of soap that smelled just like it. Supposed to came with a cigar. They supposed to still send it.
Yeah, it's supply chain, huh?
Yeah, man. Who knows? We might light it when the baby's born. I don't even smoke cigars.
It's gonna get the cough up.
Who? Not me. Boy, I'm like Method Man, boy. Iron lung. I hear you. I did that for a living. 20 years in the game. I got more years in the game than I got out of it.
Them cells and they ain't ready.
You don't inhale a cigar anyway.
I feel you right about that.
Trust me, I did it.
You inhale a cigar, you're gonna be dizzy, sick, nauseous, and have a run. Well, if you get a good quality cigar and you inhale it, well, you're gonna take a dump, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. I ain't talking about going to the corner store and buying a cigarette, wanting to feel like you doing a cigar, thinking you doing something. A good quality cigar, boy, if you inhale that, boy, you going to the toilet, boy. Moreover, this is Ruth 4 and 10. Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahon, have I purchased to be my wife. Now, y'all know what Ruth mean, right? They go Ruth right there. Hey, Ruth. Friend. It means friendship. How about that? Friend. What's up, Ruth? That's your name. You don't care, do you, Ruth? You don't act like this any other day. I'd be like that then, Ruth. What Boaz mean? He was a kinsman redeemer. That is accurate. Fleetness, swiftness. Boaz is also of the house of David. Son, in that regard, absolutely. Or great. Well, say no. I say he he great because you got Jesse and you got Obed and then you got Boaz. Obed is Jesse's daddy. Obed is the child that Ruth and Boaz had. And this is how, because contrary to popular belief, there were a few strange women here, sprinkled here and there, that these men had churned with. You just seen that because Judah had a couple churn with a Canaanite woman.
I don't think about that. We talking about how Solomon get the birthright. His mama don't want to get an adulterous woman.
She was an adulterous woman. It ain't even matter. He said, I like Solomon.
You know, I know there's a lot of scallywags sprinkled in there.
Scallywags. Because it ain't even really about the woman. It's more about the man. And that's a hard period. That's a lot of stuff turned a lot of women away for the word, too. Because I remember when that news, she's like, what about the women? I say, what about them?
Wouldn't that be like a big widow about him letting the other nations in?
What, with Solomon? With Ruth?
I'm just saying, like,
I mean, Ruth was already married to a Jew.
I'm saying, like, with Yahudah letting Gentile stuff be able to get in through.
In regard to what? What you comparing it to?
I'm saying with that, marrying somebody that's outside the house of Israel.
And this one here, not necessarily. Like, say with Ruth was already in because she was already married to a Jew. And then he died, ain't had no sons. They didn't have nobody to make sure that family name wasn't blotted out. You know what I'm saying? Because all Naomi's sons died without having a seed. You know what I'm saying? So when you turn around and you looking at that, her sons dying are symbolic of the son of Adam, and Boaz is symbolic of the son of Elohim, because he takes this woman and then they have a seed, which ends up being Obed, which ends up being Jesse, which ends up being David, which is showing you for the kings or the sons of Elohim that proceed after. That's why he's able to be called a kinsman redeemer, because that takes us back to what we just read in Ecclesiastes. Say a man laboring, he ain't got no kids. Who is his labor for? That's a grievous thing. For the average man, anyway. Not to have no son, that's grievous to the soul. But I told you, some men Yahudah don't give sons too because he don't want your name to continue. And it could be some junk that happened 2-3 generations before you. You know what I'm talking about? That's what people don't realize. That could be 2-3 generations before you. Sometimes you don't realize stuff that happened to people happened because your great-grandfather did some sour junk and you just happen to be the one to catch it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Remember, he say to the third and fourth generation.
Kind of like the Solomon.
Well, who?
Kind of like the Solomon. Now, he ain't punished Solomon, but he punished his son.
Now, see, with Solomon, the punishment was, I'm taking the kingdom.
I thought that was David's punishment.
Yeah.
Nah, David punishment is what he went through with Absalom and all them, because he said the sword always going to be in your house and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what he told him. This is what's going to happen for you. With Solomon, he told him, I'm going to take the kingdom from you, but you're not going to see it in your days, because the kingdom was always supposed to be under David, under the house of David. It was never supposed to be split. And we're going to look at that. Because actually, in 1 Chronicles 11:1, if my memory serves me correctly, the whole house of Yasharal came to David and said, we are of your bones and of your flesh, and we're going to serve you. So they had already acknowledged that we are one under you. Come over here and look at 1 Chronicles 11:1. I'm already in that book-wise, in my open book versus this app. 1 Chronicles 11:1. He says, then all Yasharal gathered themselves to David unto Hebron, saying, we are your bone and your flesh. So y'all know what they just said. We are your wife. I mean, we won. And moreover, in times past, even when Saul was king, you were he that led out and brought in Yasharal. And Yahudah your Elohim said unto you, you shall feed my people Yasharal, and you shall be ruler over my people Yasharal. Therefore came all the elders of Yasharal to the king, to Hebron, and David, and made a covenant with him in Hebron before Yahudah, and they have anointed David king over Yasharal, according to the word of Yahudah by Samuel. David and all Yasharal went to Jerusalem, which is Jesus, where the Jebusites were, the inhabitants of the land. The inhabitants of Jebus said to David, you shall not come hither. Nevertheless, David took the castle of Zion, which is the city of David. David said, whosoever smite the Jebusites first shall be chief and captain. So Joab, the son of Zeruiah, went up first and was chief. David dwelt in the castle, therefore they called it the city of David. That's why he said that's the Mount Zion which he loved, because that's the city of David, the city that David took to be able for Yahudah to rule in the city where he desired to place his name. Because you remember, they didn't have Jerusalem when they first came in the land. They didn't overtake it. But remember, the law say what? You'll gather to the place where I what? Place my name at. Yahudah had already marked out Jerusalem for the place that he was going to place his name at, and David had the balls to go get it.
Yeah, I was reading something over in the book, but it was saying that that highest point on Mount Zion was one of the spots that Abraham had set up for the pilgrim. That's what they were saying. And they were saying when they went back to his land, they already knew that David kind of already knew that they had to take that. So like he was saying, when you go out, they ain't in the book, but
that's that's probably some Jewish commentary. And he built the city round about, even from Millo round about. Joab repaired the rest of the city. David waxed greater and greater, for Yahudah of hosts was with him. There are also chief of the mighty men whom David had, who strengthened themselves with him in his kingdom, and with all Yasharal to make him king, according to the word of Yahudah concerning Yasharal. So the kingdom was always supposed to be under the house of David. When Solomon worshiped, that's why he came. He didn't come at Solomon with anything other, but I'm going to take the kingdom from you. That's why he said, but I'm going to leave you 2 tribes for David, my servant's sake. He had already made a promise to David. You know what I'm talking about? And as you can already see, looking at these genealogies, it was already set for the house of Judah to rule through Pharez, through Hezron, and on down the line. Let's come back to the book of Ruth.
but that's what made me thinking that he had already told David that the kingdom was going to be split, even before Solomon took the prince.
He never told David that. I mean, of course, according to the plan, it was already split, but he never told David that. He told Solomon that. He told Solomon that in 1 Kings 11. When Solomon, hey man, what you doing building groves? He said, I'm going to take 10 tribes from you, but I'm going to leave you 2 in the city where I place my name for a light always to be to my servant. And come look at it for those who don't know what I'm talking about. 1 Kings 11. 1 Kings 11:1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations which Yahudah said unto the sons of Yasharal, you shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. They will surely will they turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. So it wasn't the concubines, it was them 700 wives. Remember, a concubine is not considered to be a wife. She is not a wife. I just explained that to somebody the other day, and they just was offended. It's a difference. Concubine is not a wife. She is there to serve whatever purpose that man wants her to serve in. And that's it. See, this is the difference versus modern times and now. Most people in modern times, you're looking at if they have sex with them, that means something. In ancient times, they looked at the rights of a wife, and the rights of the wife were provision and protection. A concubine was not due provision and protection. She wasn't due that. She had no covenant. So when you enter into a covenant with a woman, that means that woman's your wife. She has rights. Meaning there's things that you must perform. There is nothing that a man has to perform for a concubine. Absolutely nothing. And unfortunately, if we was to really be honest and take the text and look at it, 97% of women walking the earth classify as a concubine. They don't even classify for being a wife. Yes. Yes, a wife and a concubine is a separate matter.
No, she said the princess.
They just counting the princesses
as one of the wives.
As his wives. Because see, you could be a wife and not be a princess. Exactly. Now, that's what I meant. Because that's mentioned in other places. Because he had daughters of kings of other nations. More specifically, he married the daughter of Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? It's mentioned in here somewhere that he married the daughter of Pharaoh. And if I'm also not mistaken, he married the daughter of the king of Edom. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that come in at. So, but I'm mentioning that because remember, that's where that Exodus 21 come in at. Because he said, if you take another wife, he said you can't diminish her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage. You know what I'm talking about? But a concubine is not due anything. As I was also explaining to a young lady, it's no, it doesn't necessarily have to have a contract for no concubine. If you enter into a covenant with a concubine, then she's a wife and not a concubine. Yeah, and then also, as Brother Smith just mentioned, concubines were also prisoners of war. But then there was also its rules in our law to deal with that, how you got to deal with them. Because see, we went to war and you seen a woman that caught your fancy, there was certain protocol, because we don't have time to look at it now. It's certain protocol you had to go through to make that woman your old lady. Yo, you had to be a virgin. Because that's why I'm telling you that 97, really almost 98% in the earth right now don't even qualify to be wives. Because if you were not a virgin when your husband took you, in ancient times, you could be nothing more but a concubine. That because his father would not allow him to marry you. They wouldn't allow that to happen. And then just telling you like this here, like you live in a different society, and a lot of people get upset when you tell them like this is how society was ran. If you were found to be not a virgin, you were not considered worthy enough to be a man's wife. You could be nothing but a concubine, basically a sex slave. That's all that you would be considered to be used for. You couldn't be no better than that. Unfortunately, unfortunately, in this society specifically, that's what most of these women want. But you want the provision and protection of a man, but you're not a wife.
That's why a concubine want the frontline position.
No, it wasn't.
At all.
Because she looking at, I still get something.
Right.
I ain't got to be out here by myself. Because exactly, because that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. If you're not at the house of Yasharal, the next step is you were gonna end up and be a temple prostitute. Because you gotta understand it's a different day and time. It's not, you don't have these modern amenities that you have now. So it would have been a very, very detrimental thing for you to be out here by yourself. If you see, even look at what Judah did. when Tamar's husband died, he told her go back to her daddy's house. You know what I'm talking about? And these days and times, if your father-in-law, if your husband died and your father-in-law said, hey man, go back to your daddy's house. Most women, I'm not going back to my daddy's house. That's not how they live, because who was going to protect her? Who was going to do for her? No, you need to go back to your daddy's house. Your husband dead till we get you another husband. See, now it don't matter. You like, oh, I can be out here by myself. I can do this and do that, because you live in a time that is not what the world used to be. Then they were going to ravage you, more than likely, if they weren't righteous. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not saying that because every brew wasn't righteous. And then we can't even speak about other nations and what they would do, because the custom that I'm talking about, these were worldwide customs for the most part. As far as dealing with male-female relationship, and that this is worldwide customs for the most part. If you weren't a virgin, you weren't getting married. You would not be considered to be a wife. They would make you a concubine. So you ain't got full rights. That man ain't got to provide for you. That man ain't got to do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? He don't have to do it. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you go to talking about that in 2021. That's why most people don't want to deal with the book and the ways of old, because they say this is oppressive. Because now you have freedom. So now you say, I can go over here and do this, I can go over here and do that. And the man can say, I can go over here and do this. And this man say, I can dress up like a lady and I can be with this boy. And of course, now you're seeing they trying to add the doggone, and we've been on this for years. They're trying to make it acceptable for dang, what's that doggone word? That too. But that ain't the word I'm looking for, man. Man, boy, love. The word escaped me, man. You know what I'm talking about? Not pedophilia. Pederasty. Yeah. They trying to add that to the LBGTQ. You know what I'm saying? That you like a little young poop. They trying to add that on now. They say there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a psychological disorder. I mean, a man shouldn't have a concubine now, but most people who had concubines had means.
That's why I was saying Solomon had some minutes. Well, that jump was a thing of prestige. Yeah,
Again, I mentioned to y'all that last week. That everybody in society, and I mention this because most brews like to romanticize it. We had multiple wives. Everybody didn't have multiple wives. You had to have means. That's why when Nathan gave that parable to David, he said this one poor man, he had one little ewe lamb. He couldn't afford to take care of another ewe lamb. That's why he had one. And you took his one when you had 22 back here. 1 Kings 11 and 4. Yeah. For it came to pass when Solomon was old, his wives turned away his heart after other gods. His heart was not perfect with Yahudah, his Elohim, as the heart of David, his father. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahudah, and went not fully after Yahudah, as David, his father. Then Solomon did build a high place for Chemosh and the abominations of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, Molech, for the abomination of the sons of Ammon. You can drop down a little bit because I ain't reading all that. You can drop down to 12.
Sit down. Why you even talking? Sit down.
You can make it 11. Really, because we got to move on. Come on over here to 31. He said to Jeroboam, take you 10 pieces, for thus saith Yahudah, the Elohim of Yasharal. Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to you. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Yasharal. Because they have forsaken me and worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of Moabites, Milcom, the god of the sons of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do in my eyes and in my statutes, my judgments, as David his father. Howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him a prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hands and will give it unto you, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And again, this is going back to he rejected Ephraim. Because you're seeing this right here, that he's not choosing Ephraim. He's still choosing Judah. The Mount Zion, which he loved. He's showing you this. It's right here in your face. He said, I will take you, and you shall reign according to all that your soul desire, and you shall be king over Yasharal. And it shall be, if you will hearken unto me, hearken unto all that I command you, and will walk in my ways, and do right in my sight to keep my statutes, my commandments, as David my servant did, then I will be with you and build you a sure house as I built for David, and I will give Yasharal unto you, and I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. So you know this takes us back to, this is why Yahushua gets afflicted. Because guess what, we know what happened. Jeroboam didn't obey. Because he said he would have built the kingdom for him too. And he didn't get one. Hush your mouth. I don't care, they ain't yours. Well, nigga, go outside then. Hear all that crap. Come on back to roof chapter 4. Four and 11. Is it 4 and 11? 4 and 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place you are witnesses this day. Remember, Yasharal is the seed of Abraham, his friend. So therefore, Yahushua has played the role of Boaz by purchasing this woman, by raising up the name of the dead upon her, that they don't lose their inheritance. The name of Yahushua is now being placed upon them, because what did Genesis 5 and 1 tell you? And I called their name Adam. And the whole family in heaven and earth is named after Mashiach, as Paul wrote in Ephesians, the 3rd chapter. Let's continue. All the people that were in the gates, and the elders said, we are witnesses. That's what happened when those 3,000 people also bear witness on Pentecost when Peter preached to them. Let's continue. Yahuwah make that woman that is coming to your house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Yasharal, and do you worthily in a reptile, and be famous in Bethlehem. Now, I just want to see what they got there for fame. And of course, you know, famous is what? Shem, to have a reputation, fame, and esteem. And let your house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Yahudah, of the seed which you shall give of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when she went unto her, Yahuwah gave her conception. She bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, Baruch be Yahuwah, which have not left you this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Yasharal. He shall be a restorer of life. So he's going to return you to life. It's taking us back to the conversation that we had with Abel and Seth. A nourisher in your old age, for your daughter-in-law which love you, which is better to you than 7 sons that have borne him. And let's look at nourisher. Cool. And that one here is to support, to sustain, to endure, or to nourish. So this man is going to give you the ability to endure and to support you. We talked about that in regards to he'll leave you with a comforter, because that will be your support and your sustaining in these days and times, as it were. Or as it stated, that wisdom and understanding will be the stability of your times. Stability in that regard, meaning faith, which gives you the ability to endure. And Naomi took the child, laid it in her bosom, became a nurse unto it. The women and her neighbors gave it a name, saying, this son is born to Naomi, and they called his name Obed, and he is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Obed means serving. You should know that, because abad means to labor or to serve, or to be a servant. Now, these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron. Hezron begat Ram. Ram begat Aminadab. Aminadab begat Nashon. Nashon begat Salmon. Salmon begat Boaz. Boaz begat Obed. And Obed begat Jesse. And Jesse begat David. Let's come back over here to 1 Chronicles 4 in regards to a reptile. A reptile is the father of Bethlehem.
Yeah. What chapter?
Back to 1 Chronicles 4. A reptile means ash place or fruitfulness. Now I want you to come over here to Genesis 35. Because we ain't gonna spend a lot of time looking in the Gospels today. You have to spend a lot of time with all this stuff just to get the simple baseline information of who is who and what is what. Let's see what verse I desire. Genesis 35, probably about verse 14. You can make it 11 though. Shoot, you can make it 10. Genesis 35 and 10. And this is the thing, right? When he tell you to return back to the ancient past, and you hear a lot of brew like returning to the ancient past ain't be like, oh, men can get all these wives or this, that, and the third. But to return back to the ancient past, you have to think like ancient people thought. Or more importantly, think about how things were supposed to be according to the will of Yahudah and not the way that people live now. Because if you think the way that people live now, you're going to set yourself up for failure because you'll never be in congruence with the will of Elohim because you have the mind of the world and not the mind of the Father. You're going to have a conflict. You're going to have a conflict. And this is what it is, right? Because, of course, you got all the dudes who be online crying and whining all the time. But what done happened is that, and this is the direct contrast, women have overinflated their value and their importance in this modern day society because of the freedom. In turn, men have devalued their ability to lead and to say that I will not engage with certain things. So then that leads to conflict between the two parties, which is detrimental to the children. Because you have less dominant men and more masculine or rebellious or independent thinking women. And that doesn't mix for a community of people who are going to thrive. It doesn't mix. And what I mean in that meaning is that now you have men who live their sole purpose of fulfilling the desires of the woman contrary to their own desires. And that's not the will of Yahudah. That's what leads to disorder and confusion. It doesn't mean that the woman's desires can't be fulfilled. It doesn't mean that the woman's desires are irrelevant. But they can't come before the man. Because the law says that the woman's desire is supposed to be to her husband. And now the man's desire is to his wife. And women believe that that is the case, that he's supposed to labor, work, and do everything and get nothing. And that his desires are not regarded. That doesn't bode well for a future generation of young men to lead communities. See, it's bigger than this young man getting what he wants. You're talking about generations that come after that have to lead communities. So then these young men, they're not trained to actually lead communities. And that leads to the detriment of the community as a whole, because we're only thinking about what I want right now. That's detrimental. Because how is he going to be able to raise his son if his son see him kowtowing to everything this woman wants? Because Yahudah doesn't do that. Would you really want Yahudah to give you everything you want? Do you know something right? There was a meme long time ago. Do you realize if Yahudah gave you everything you wanted, that you'd be able to see how evil your heart really is? If he gave you everything that you desired, see, as a parent, most of you know you can't give them children everything they want because you know that they would damage themselves if you gave it to them. Y'all should know from the text, if he give you everything you want, that means he's done with you. Because he say, I give you over to your heart's desire so I can see what your end is going to be. See, when Yahudah don't fool with you, he give you everything you want. If you feel like you're getting everything you want, well, you might be towing a dangerous line. And when I say everything you want, I ain't talking about no material stuff. I'm talking about all the things that your mind and heart it can conceive that you want. And you getting it. You might want to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you moving in the fashion that you're supposed to be moving? Because he only gives people everything they want when he's done with them, so he can see how it will destroy you. Just like he told you in Proverbs. So when your calamity come, he can laugh at you, and when your fear come, he gonna mock you. Because every good parent know you can't give it. Y'all know full well if y'all just have big bags of candy and you set it in front of the kids and say, yeah, get with it. You can have whatever you want. You know what's going to happen. Them children is going to gorge on that candy. Especially if you gave them the option of, I got a nice plate over here. Got this whole plate right here full of vegetables. And I got that whole countertop full of candy. They not going to pick what's good for them. They going to pick what's appealing to the eye. And they're going to overindulge on it until they ain't got no teeth and they stomach in a knot. You know what I'm talking about? You got to look at that, and then guess what you do? Because you knew they were going to sit there and eat all the candy. You look at you. Look at you. Your people done did you like that to a certain degree. They go look at you. Because they were trying to teach you a lesson. That's what Yahudah do. Go ahead and get everything you want. Look at you. Look at you now. Now you like to say, don't do me like that. Oh, my stomach hurt. Oh, why you let me eat all them Tootsie Rolls? No, you thought you wanted all them snacks. See, the things that you think you want, once you get them, you find out you really didn't want them. It was just a good old desire. It was just a good old desire. And then when that desire fulfilled, you feel empty. Because that ain't what you really wanted. We know one thing about human beings, and of course it's always manifested more in a woman than a man, but men do it just in a different fashion. People always want what they want versus what they need. Because what they need don't feel good, taste good, it don't do nothing for you. I told you, I talked to somebody that I said, sometimes you have to have people say stuff out loud so they can hear it. See, a lot of y'all women that sit here and tell that lie, I married him for love and all this here, you a damn lie. You married him for security. You bet on his ability to take care of you. And you ought to say it out loud and be honest and real with yourself because your husband know it. Ain't no man walking around here, yeah, boy, she really chose me for love. We ain't that stupid. We know full well you betting on the ability that this man going to be able to take care of you. Ain't nobody that dumb. That's high school little kid stuff. When you get grown, ain't nobody thinking like that. Ain't nobody thinking like that. Now, what that man choose you for, that's individual to that man. See, for women, it's uniform across the board. I want security and protection. Men choose women for a multitude of different things. It all just depends on what that man wants. And I think that's what bothers women too, because women, their desires are pretty universal, and men's are specific to that individual man. Men don't have universal requirements other than to be quiet and to be obedient. Those are the only universal requirements that you're going to get from most men, to be quiet and be obedient. Because ain't no nigga trying to fight with no woman every day. But you got dudes walking around here really believing she loves you for you. And that's what she chose you for. And you might love him, but you didn't marry him for that. And sometimes you might have to say it out loud. I married him because I want him to take care of me. I don't want to take care of myself. If I had a choice, ain't none of y'all choosing to take care of yourself if you don't got to. You don't want to do it. You don't want to make mortgage payments, rent payments. You don't want to do none of that. So then if you know you don't want to do none of that, then you ought to have more respect to the man who does that. And I ain't talking about your husband neither. Not the one that came out of a woman's vagina. You know what I'm talking about? You ought to have more respect for him because he take care of you. Did not this man say, don't the flowers of the field be cut, be dressed? He say, are you not greater than the flowers? You know what I'm saying? So you ought to have respect because at the end of the day, yes, you came to Yahudah because you want what he has to give. Let's not sit here and lie to ourselves and act like you don't want to dwell in his everlasting kingdom and that you don't want the benefits that come with being a servant to Yahudah. Let's not lie to ourselves. Do you not want a kingdom? Do you not want to be provided for by the great Elohim? Let's be real with yourself. It don't make you evil because that's what you desire. What woman would not want to be with a man who can do for her? See, we look at women crazy when they talk about, I don't need a man to do nothing for me. That's whole crazy. There's something wrong with her. See, men is hear that and be like, oh, I don't need it. Because that, well, a lot of women look like, well, why dudes don't want to mess with a woman who say, I don't need him for nothing? Because I know that eventually there's some manner of conflict that is going to come up from dealing with this person. Some manner of conflict is going to arise, and I would rather avoid it. It's not anything about dudes are intimidated by it, that they scared of it. I don't want to deal with that because I know I'm going to have to fight this person. And I don't care to do that in my house. And of course, we know what Yahudah told us to do. What he told us to do, Lil John, if she want to fight.
Get a little pallet on the roof.
He say, make you a pallet on the roof. He doesn't want to do that. I'm just mentioning all this stuff because of the divergent attitudes that people hold, and it makes it extremely difficult for them to serve Yahudah because they bring those attitudes to him. The men do it just in a different fashion. They hold the same attitudes and they bring it to him. This is why people sit back and say it's fake. Or I seen a dude say, I slept just like Jesus did through slavery. He wasn't asleep. He was wide awake. You know what I'm talking about? And sometimes you need to tell them when niggas say that, why Jesus was asleep during slavery. No, he was wide awake. Matter of fact, he called the boats around there to come pick you up. Matter of fact, he overseen every whip that went across your back, every tree you hung from, and every bullet you caught. What type of God would do that? The type of God that said, if you disobeyed me and broke my covenant, nigga, I'm going to kill you where you stand. That's the one. But guess what? People don't know that. People don't believe that he would do something like that. And that offends them. Why does it offend them? Because they don't understand that there was an agreement made and there were conditions to the agreement. Returning back to Genesis 35, verse 10. Man, on the other point, you know what the illest part they come in at? A woman who choose a nigga who ain't getting no money. That one there, I ain't never understand that one there. It's a whole bunch of women be on the internet crying about this nigga broke, this nigga that. You knew that nigga was broke before you cocked your legs over. See, I could get you if you're in your early 20s, because both of y'all broke. You get your mid-20s and 30s, and you still giving your vagina to broke niggas, there's something wrong with you. Huh? She might like broke penis. That's what they say. I heard a woman say the other day, broke penis is the best penis because he having sex for survival. I said, boy, these women crazy. That's what she said. You know the sad part is, that ain't the first time I done heard that in my life. A woman say that broke penis is the best penis. They like the men who got money, they can't do it. The men who broke, they laying it down. I say, shoot, he got a lot of time on his hands, so shoot, he can perfect his craft. 35 and 10. Elohim said unto him, your name is Jacob. Your name shall not be called anymore Jacob, but Yasharal shall be your name. And he called his name Yasharal. Elohim said unto him, I am Elohim Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of you. Kings shall come out of your loins. You heard what he said? And what king came out of his loins? David. Even with the house of Ephraim. But the king of kings descended from Jacob. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to you will I give it into your seed, and I will give and after you will I give the land. Elohim went up from him in his place where he talked with him. Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon and poured oil thereon. And he called the name of the place Bethel. And while they journeyed from Bethel, they came a little way to Arath. And Rachel travailed and she had hard labor. Y'all know what Arath is, right? Y'all know what that is, right? That's Bethlehem they at. That's Bethlehem. This is what, and guess who she giving birth to in Bethlehem? Y'all know who she gave birth to and died with giving birth to in Bethlehem? The son of the right hand. That's who was born in Bethlehem. Let's continue. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, fear not, you shall have this son also. It came to pass as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Beoni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And of course, you know, Benjamin's first name meant son of my sorrow. And then Jacob, the father, look at this here, right? Put it to you this way. Son of my sorrow, because we didn't talk about this before, so we didn't spend a lot of time. Son of my sorrow, I'm exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. All that what Mashiach went through before his death, he was what? Sorrowful. But when he died, what did his father do? Changed his name. Rose him from the dead. Now you sit here on my right hand till your enemy be your footstool. This is the son of my right hand. You see the same thing happening all over again. And she was buried in Bethlehem or in the house of bread. That's one of the reasons why you turn around and see Mashiach being born where? In Bethlehem. Because the son of the right hand was born in Bethlehem. This is one of the advents why you see him being born in Bethlehem. He mentioned Micah 5. Let's go on and look at it. 5 and 1, if you would. Then we're going to come back to Psalms 132. We're just talking about it so you understand that the person who Bethlehem and Raptor, that's an actual person from the house of Judah. Micah 5 and 1. Now gather yourselves in troops, O daughter of troops. He have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Yasharal with a rod upon the cheek. And of course, you know what did they hit him with? Hit him with a reed right upside his head. But you, O Bethlehem Raptor, though you be little among the thousands of Yahudah, yet out of you shall come forth unto me that shall be ruler in Yasharal, who's going forth from of old, from everlasting. Therefore will he give them up until that time, till the time she travail have brought forth, then the remnant of his brethren, praise Yahuwah. Therefore will he give them up until the time she travail have brought forth, then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the sons of Yasharal. Do you see that there? Because we just read about who? Rachel doing what? Travailing and giving forth in that same place, the same way that you see Mary did. And he shall stand and feed in the strength of Yahuwah, in the majesty of the name of Yahuwah, his Elohim, and they shall abide, for now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth. It's only right that the son of my right hand, the son of the king, were born in Bethlehem, just like the king. Let's look at it in Matthew 1, just on the house. I'm trying to remember when we looked at the genealogy last time. I don't think we got past Levi before we switched to something else. Matthew 2 and 1. Now, when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Yahudah in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born Malach of the Yahudim? We've seen a star in the east. We've come to worship him. Now, this is another thing, too, because brother asked me that the other day. You know, you hear Bruce say, you ain't supposed to worship Yahushua. I just don't know what to say. You just seen, right, these men say we came to worship him. Y'all do remember what the word worship means in Hebrew. It means to reverence, to honor, and to respect. Niggas say that, again, as I told you this in the past, because you are not accustomed to being subject to a king, to a monarch. You would reverence and honor a king. If you didn't do that, you would be killed. That's why you still see, regardless how you feel about Queen Elizabeth or any king or monarch in another country, that's why you see them people give them their proper respect. That's what you're supposed to do. If you didn't do that, that says more about you. You are a rude, disrespectful individual. And then if that's your king, you ain't going to reverence and honor your king? Come on, man. You only supposed to worship God, but people bow down and worship David, though. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas crazy, man. Crazy is all out, though. We good at Micah 5. We come back to what it is. Psalm 132, that's what I need. I need Psalm 132. He did say all hail, and they definitely did bow down at his feet upon his resurrection. Yes, they did, sir. Yes, they did.
Didn't Joseph's brothers give reverence to him?
Yes, they did. Because he was in the basically in the position of a king. So I also got it lined up for all the kings of the house of Judah, but I don't know if we're gonna get that today. I'm not gonna read all their story, but I definitely want you to be. We done went through it before. You know what I'm saying? It took us about 3 to 5 months, something like that. I'm just gonna run off their names. You were willing before we get on out of here. Psalms 132:1. Yahudah remembered David and all his afflictions, how he sware unto Yahudah and vowed unto the mighty of Jacob. Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor go up into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find out a place for Yahudah, a habitation for the mighty of Jacob. Lo, we heard of it at a reptile. We found it in the fields of the wood. We will go into his tabernacles. We will worship at his footstool. Arise, O Yahudah, into your rest, you in the ark your strength. What you think that means? Look at verse 6. He say, we heard of it at a reptile. We found it in the fields of the wood. Fields here is Sadeh, field, land, cultivated land, plain. Simply means land. So you look at fields. Okay, I got you in just a second, Brother Reynolds. And of course, you got wood, and that is Yahar, forest, wood, thicket, wooded height. What y'all think that means? Brother Reynolds got Isaiah 45 and 20 through 25. Let's take a look at what Brother Reynolds got. Isaiah 45 and 20. Assemble yourselves and come draw near together. You that are escaped of the nations, that have no knowledge, that set up the wood of their graven image, and pray unto a God that cannot save. Tell you and bring near, yea, let them counsel together who have declared this from the ancient time, who have told it from that time. Not I, Yahudah, and is no Elohim else beside me, a just Elohim, a Savior, none beside me. Look unto me and be you saved, all the ends of the earth, for I, Elohim, and none else. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out of my mouth, in righteousness and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess, or every tongue shall swear. Surely shall say, in Yahudah have I righteousness and strength. To him shall men come, and all that are incensed against him shall be ashamed. And Yahudah shall all the seed of Yasharal be justified and shall esteem. He mentioned, Saran just mentioned, I see the people as trees. And I see why you mentioned that, but I'm going to be honest with you. We just read it. Because the wise men heard what in a raptor? The king, they said we will go to his tabernacles and worship at his footstool. They went to find out where he dwelt at so they could worship at his feet. Did they not? Let's go back and look at it again. Nothing wrong with what y'all mentioned. See what Brother Reynolds mentioned, he looking at the trees of the fact they bow down to give acknowledgement. Notice that he said this is that also in that Isaiah 45. That's why he say, if I be lifted up, all men will come unto me. That's why I say justified or be made righteous in the seed of Yahshua. You'll be made righteous through him. Why would you put that there instead of putting it in the trash can? I don't know what you messing with that for. Did go ahead, did leave it there. Because you only put messing with it there because you finna put your trash up there and walk away. So you don't put your trash away, return to your seat.
No, that one is trash. You was getting a paper. You got the paper. You get your paper towel, sit down.
My apologies, sir. Good grief. hats. Shoot, no, that's Instagram. They trying to let you know. Holla at us on Sunday. Ain't nothing else to grab. Them niggas be coming with some. Not if you just want colors.
You gotta give them time, man.
Ain't nothing else to grab. I ain't doing NBA, so I'm good on that. Now, when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Yahudah in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from east of Jerusalem, saying, we hear, where is he that is born? Malach of the Yahudim, we have seen his star in the east and come to worship. Worship him. When Herod the king heard, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. He gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together and demanded of them where Mashiach should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Yahudah, for thus it is written it by the prophet. You, Bethlehem, in the land of Yahudah, are the least among the princes of Yahudah. For out of you shall come a governor that shall rule my people Yasharal. See, that's Psalms 132 is pointing you to these wise men. And of course, we just went over Psalms 132 not too long ago. And of course, in verse 11, that's when he swore to David, of the fruit of his body shall a man sit upon his throne. See, that's why it had to come through David. And then he just chose Solomon as the son for it to do it. And you know why he chose Solomon? Because Solomon was of a wise and understanding heart. And where's the evidence that we know that Solomon was of a wise and understanding heart? Because when he was made king and he was but a lad, he didn't pray for riches. He didn't pray for a long life. He didn't pray for his enemies to be destroyed. He prayed for a heart of wisdom to do judgment and have understanding to rule over this man people justly. So that means Yahuwah already knew he had that type of heart. But he also knew Solomon liked a little booty. Because booty gets you in trouble. His daddy did like booty, so it run in the family. You know what I'm saying? But see, David ain't like booty like Solomon did. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He like booty like Solomon did. Solomon like this here, boy. Who? Solomon say, man, shoot, the more the merrier the carrier. That's a lot of women, boy. I'm talking about, I ain't dealing with 1,000 women, boy. But I also tell you the difference too, especially for somebody like with Solomon. I guarantee you, he ain't sleep in the same room with the women. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you, and when I say not the same, I ain't talking about all 1,000. I'm talking about one of them. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you, as the king, well, the women had their own houses and own bed chambers within his palace. Because that's also another thing. That's a new thing in modern time too, with men and women sharing the same bed. Much less the same room. Because in times gone past, well, that woman slept in another room away from that man. Not because he didn't love or hated his wife. They just had no desire to share a room with a woman. Being honest with you. I've known this for a long time. I ain't saying this junk just out the blue. If you read enough history books and you read enough about cultures, you seem to see that common theme. That's just how they live. Like boys and girls weren't even educated together. They were separated. And I ain't talking about no school education because that's a new thing. And you put that in, we went through that about 3-4 years ago. That educational school system they do in America, nigga, that's a social experiment. Them crackers don't even know if that junk worked for real. That's why I be laughing at niggas who put their trust in it. You got to be the dumbest person in the world to put your trust in something that is a social experiment. And they tell you it's a social experiment. They don't even know if people learn like this. Like, they don't even know if people learn like this. No, I mean, I'm talking about, if you're talking about the people who actually do the research, they say they really don't, there's no conclusive evidence of how the educational system is structured in America that people actually learn anything.
I was thinking about it. Socialism.
Mr. Ron said his name was Solomon. He needed that peace.
I never seen a piece I ain't like.
No, not that piece, but peace. I don't want to live with you. Sleep over there. Sleep over there. No, I'm going to be honest with you. They don't even know how. Because y'all know how many ways they say it's a learning. What they say is like 5. I know they say visual, auditory. You know what I'm saying? Then you got some that are both. Your cousin say we ought to ask you. He say you the educator.
This is above my pay grade.
Mm.
I told them hands on. I know I forget what to call it. They'll call it hands on.
You know, Johnny.
No. I'm talking about. They talking about the way people learn. Like this. You got, like you said, they got a name for hands-on learning, but they don't call it that. But then you have auditory learning. You got people who can learn just by hearing. You have people who can learn just by seeing. You have some people who learn by hearing and seeing. You know what I'm saying? It just all depends. You have some people that they cannot retain information just by hearing it. See, this is the only mode of education you gonna have to retain it by hearing it. That's why I done told y'all that in the past. Like, you can't take this book and try to frame it according to the educational system that you used to. It's not supposed to be instructed in that fashion. It never was instructed in that fashion.
Like, not having to, but as far as, remember we were talking about how niggas don't see niggas walk it out as a child.
But see, that's the example.
Right.
But I'm talking about, but even with the example, you still got to hear it. Because if you don't hear it, mean you don't believe it, and then you gonna walk it.
I'm talking about niggas trying to teach niggas about the word. That's what I was saying.
Now, see, to teach somebody about the word. Now, I just mentioned it earlier. Honestly, the reason why people fail by trying to teach people who not in the word, because them niggas really don't know it, so they can't really teach it. You can't be.
Yeah,
It's a big fail.
It's a big fail. Because before you can walk it, you got to hear it.
You gotta know it.
And you hearing it from knowing it. Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. So this is the only thing where a nigga can write it out on the board, still don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm only mentioning that is because we didn't have niggas want to take the word and make it teach the people entertainment wise, teach it in the quote unquote traditional education wise, and that junk means nothing. All that's doing is that's a person trying to appease the people, to make it congruent for them. And they don't work like that. Them boy came and dropped that word, and you're going to take it or leave it. You know what I'm talking about? That's how that John went. You think when Yahudah came in the synagogue, they said they opened up to do what? To read. And they called them to understand what they were reading. Now, if you don't understand what I'm reading, shoot, that's a problem with you and Yahudah. Talk to them later on when you leave.
No, because like you said, if the nigga learn 5 different ways and you don't hit this one way, you gotta have that one way.
You can only have this one way. This is one thing that there's only one way.
It's a one-way street.
One-way street. You can't get it no other way. Because the reason why I say that is, and then I'm gonna move on. No matter how a man teach it, it's up to Yahudah to open your heart to get it. So it don't matter. You can teach it any way you want to teach it, but if Yahudah shut it off, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. Now, I ain't even gonna say that they learn to serve government and idols in the schoolhouse, Saran, because it ain't even just about that. We're just talking about the curriculum and the way that it's taught. They are not even. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, they didn't teach us nothing about serving no government throughout the 12, 13 years I was in school. I don't recall none of that. Outside of they talking about stand up for the pledge, and then they were shocked when you ain't stand for it. We ain't get no government propaganda from 1985 to 1998 for me.
It's still framed like socialism, like you said, the men and women learning the same, you learning the same things. It ain't teaching you to serve government, but it's teaching you uniform information.
No, he said that they learn how to serve the government and idols in there. And I can say that they don't teach you to serve idols in the American school system. You know what I'm saying? They don't teach you to do that.
But subconsciously, they teach you to get out of the government. Like, whatever they roll out, get behind it.
No, they teach you to be a worker. Well, I can't even say they teach you to be a worker. They teach you to frame you in a particular thought process where you can be functional in their society. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't even say they tell you, go get a job. Yeah, teachers and guidance counselors might throw that to you, but overwhelmingly, when you look at the curriculum, nobody's telling you to go be a worker. Them people trying to get you the hell out their classroom.
They don't just teach you English and mathematics and geometry. They want you to know that type of stuff.
And they only want you to know that because that's what they're mandated to instruct. Because who knows what certain teachers would instruct if they had the latitude and freedom to teach whatever they wanted. Now, that's a little different now because I'm not in them. That's what I'm saying. I can't speak for now because I'm not in school. I can just say from 1985 to 1998, I don't recall any of that.
I would say this was probably more started going back then than it is now.
Yeah, now it's probably loose.
Yeah, it's free range.
Yeah, I know they teaching about booty bandits. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of booty. That's what it comes. It's wrong though, y'all. It's wrong. You ain't got no business back there. First Chronicle 4:4. Don't do it, bloodbath. Don't do it. And Penuel, the father of Gedor, and Ezer, the father of Hushah. These are the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Arapta, the father of Bethlehem. Eshur, the father of Tekoa, had two wives, Helah and Narah. Narah bare him Ahuzam, Hepthor, Temani, Hashtare. Oh, he talking about serve idols and pagan holidays. Man, they don't even teach you to serve the holidays over here, bro. They do that, John, honestly, man, because they just assume that everybody do it. Because they don't really push on you, sir, keep Thanksgiving, keep Christmas. They don't do that over here. You know what I'm saying? It's mainly because a lot of brews over here get offended when people say Merry Christmas to them or Happy Thanksgiving because they don't click it in their brain that people just don't think that you don't do that. They think everybody do it. So I'm not going to be mad at you about something that is the overwhelming cultural norm. You say Merry Christmas. I'd be like, yeah, you too, nigga. Hey, you a married one too. Shoot, it's your holiday. Be married, nigga. You know, Happy Thanksgiving, shoot. You better give thanks. Because, boy, when that man come around here, he ain't going to be giving nothing. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, they don't really press that on nobody like, because they really can't do that because they're not really allowed to press one religion over the other over here in the schoolhouse. That doesn't lead to lawsuits.
Yeah, they always get comments from my girls in school, so they don't press it. It's just if you don't say nothing, they're just gonna go with it.
You're just gonna go with it. Yeah, they put little themes in the classroom, but I'm gonna tell you, like, it ain't like they sitting here talking about kids. Let's get ready for Santa Claus. They don't do that. At least not at past elementary school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At least not past elementary school.
Yeah, past that.
No, that junk dies.
But they try to do it for the kids.
It's mainly that they mainly do it for the kids in elementary. Thanksgiving, Halloween, and all that, because they consider it to be kiddie stuff. Because once you get to high school, that junk's over with. You know what I'm saying? Middle school is barely holding on. Yeah, so it's not like that.
But to his point, especially since America is so diverse, it's already implied like an Asian or you feel me, East Indian or
Don't do that. And also too, Saran, so you know, over here they don't ascribe these holidays to a particular god. Even though Christmas is they're considered to be secular days over here. They're not considered to be religious holidays. That's why they can get off doing them in the schoolhouse. Because in the schoolhouse over here, well, they cannot promote another god over another if you're in a public school. If you're getting federal or state money, they're not allowed to do it. They will get sued. Private school, they can do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying?
Schools, they don't
Oh, I know they don't. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing none of that in no Jewish school. You know what I'm talking about? Just like, hey, ain't no doggone, ain't no Buddha worshiping at no Trinity Christian. You know what I'm talking about? That's a fact. You go to Trinity Christian, University Christian, nigga, it's mandatory. You hit that chapel, boy. Chapel, nigga. Word. I mean, it's a private Christian school. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a private Christian school. I mean, you paying for that. That's what you paying for. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's not like that. They don't just be like, Thanksgiving, let's give thanks to Jesus. No, they don't do none of that. Because if that teacher was to say, let's give thanks to Jesus, and all it takes is that kid to go home and say, Mr. Johnson said thanks to Jesus. That's why we keep Thanksgiving. Shoot. And they mamas are atheists, somebody getting sued. And Mr. Johnson is going to get reassigned or fired. That's how they do it. Y'all know I ain't lying. Yeah, they ain't allowed to do that over here, man. Shoot, what them people were beefing about a 10 Commandment monument in front of a courthouse.
But to your point though, when you do start to get in middle school and high school, they open you up to the fact that it is other gods and cultures. Like we talked about how they teach you about Greek mythology. They start teaching you about
Real religion as
so
well
it's
as
like you said,
humanities.
more than one over another. They just let
They
you know
to teach about it.
that's the real
Now that's a
world.
fact. Now, Saran, that's what they do over here because that's how I studied every religion known to man. They open you up to they don't do it in middle school.
No, they do.
No, I'm talking about when I was in middle school, they didn't do it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying because we didn't take world history until I got to the 10th grade. World history is when they begin to open you up to other cultures and the gods that they worship. Then when you get to college, that's when they begin to hit you off with humanities. And when they hit you off with humanities, that's when they just go deep dive into all of them. But they don't say you should do this or you should do that because they consider that junk to just be like, hey man, that stuff's cool.
Yeah, that's what they do. You should respect it.
You should respect that culture. You know, Greek culture is great. Yeah, Jessica just mentioned that the girls were in a Jewish daycare. They celebrated the feast days, and the children couldn't bring certain foods to the school. Don't you bring no ham sandwich in here.
It's every day.
Let's check.
Mm.
Open up.
Huh? Like you sit over there chewing. It's pork in that.
Hey,
See, some brews be going too far. Boy, it's pork in that brush. Nigga, brush your hair, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Them boar bristles. That's swine. Nigga, sit your flip behind down somewhere, boy. Y'all playing football, that's a pig skin. Stupid nigga, that's leather. That's cowhide. It's said on the ball. Nah, but dudes be like, that's when they be super brewing. I gotta find me a boar-free hairbrush. Well, you better brush that nappy junk, boy. You're looking bad if you're gonna rock the low skin. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? This nigga like me, I don't comb mine, let him nap up, nigga. Bump that junk. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, I'm telling you. Yeah, they be talking about pork level work boot. Nigga like, boy, pork in them boots. I ain't gonna be able to go to work. Nigga, you ain't want to work no way, nigga. You trying to blame it on the boots. You know what I'm talking about? He talking about the leather. All leather ain't no leather made out of no swine. You know what I'm talking about? Leather's made out of cow butt, boy. You understand me? Dude told me that when I caught them sycamores. He was like, nigga, that's ostrich skin. That's unclean. They clean on my feet, though, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Good and clean, nigga. You see? Yeah, nigga ain't eating no ostrich, nigga. Nigga, that's on these shoes, nigga. You sound stupid. I remember a dude told me, you don't keep no laws. So you mean to tell me how you know if you was on the city bus and the lady was on the period and you sat in her seat? I said, just go on ahead and get offline, man. Log off, man. If you was on the city bus and the other woman was on her period and she got up and you said, I say, sir, that's not a sin. You're just unclean. I say, boy, you perpetually unclean in America, nigga. Because if you go anywhere at any time, you done ran across the woman on her cycle. You just ain't know. Some of these Hebrew niggas be talking about a woman on their cycle and shoot. They around here tasting bloody nickels. Laying tiles down on the bed, talking about for the man, you nasty bad. But I remember the first time I seen a nigga say that, I ain't so long, Christine. I ain't know what a nigga was talking about. Nigga see, what this for? I'm like, oh no, nigga, what you nigga laying the towel? Nigga said, oh, that's for having sex on your period. I said, oh, you nigga nasty. You know what I'm talking about? I never heard of such a thing. I wouldn't dare. Boy, ain't that much horny in the world, boy. Boy, I'm talking about, boy, I ain't telling you to do it. But boy, if you got to do that, boy, go in the room, beat your meat. Boy, cut the hub on, man. But if you were going to do that, but if you were going to go on a woman on her cycle, well, if you was that pressed that you wanted to have sex with a woman on her cycle, boy, go ahead and go beat your meat, boy. Because something wrong with you. Don't do such folly in Israel, boy. Don't you do that. Keep her. Boy, you can't be that horny, boy. Well, that's nasty, man. I'm talking about I ain't even have to know no word, but I'm good. Blood? Nigga, I don't like blood in no form or fashion. I don't want to see me bleeding. I definitely don't want to see her bleeding. Not there. Nigga, that junk don't even smell. Well, you ever cleaned a woman's bathroom in a commercial spot? Lord have mercy. Y'all know because y'all go in there. Boy, when nigga used to clean that air house, boy, and they got that little tampon thing on there. It wasn't right before God, I tell you that. What? Bruh. Now, one time, I only seen one nasty thing in the male's bathroom at the ale house, boy. Boy, somebody left a log in there that just wasn't right. Boy, that junk wouldn't flush. Boy, I said, boy, I'm not cleaning that. I said, boy, y'all gonna have to do something about that. Well, I'm not fooling with that. That junk like this here. I'm like, boy, that. Hey, nah, bro. Seeing that junk, bro, nigga like, boy, that nigga booty hole got ripped. Boy, ain't no way in the world nigga put that out. But all cap, there ain't no cap, bro. That junk was probably about thick as my arm, man. I was just amazed, boy.
Right. Boy, you got a big arm.
Hey, I'm talking about, bro, I ain't never seen no piece of fecal matter like that before in my life, man. I'm like, boy, I done cleaned a lot of bathrooms, boy. I ain't never seen nothing like that before to this day. And boy, that was like 2012, boy, I seen that 20. I was like, oh no. I wouldn't have got that. That's hey, boy, I ain't fooling with that. I can't do it. But that lady bathroom, though, bro, pee, feces, period, blood. I'm talking about, nigga, you just walking there and you get an odor of vagina that just like, no. But that junk can make you be like, I don't even want to have sex. I don't even want no more women. Y'all know y'all done went in there, been women bathrooms. Y'all know y'all done walked in there like, oh no. I think say yes. I'm going fifth. Y'all know it. Women's bathroom always worse than the male bathroom if you clean for a living. You know it. It's always worse. They be like, women cleaner. The hell you say? Disgusting. You know what I'm talking about? And I be like, boy, in the fourth part is, boy, somebody having sex with these women. I'm trying to tell you, man. It ain't right. It ain't right. First Chronicles, man, 4. Where I'm at, man. I think I'm in verse 8. And you say 5? No, I read 5. I'll read 5 again, though. Asher, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Nerah. Nerah bearing Ashazam, Hephthar, Timnai, Hashatara. These were the sons of Nerah. And the sons of Helah was Zerath, Jazor, and Ethanan. Koz begat Anub, Zobah, and the families of Arehal, the son of Harum. Here we go. This here is a clap. We did this here like 7-8 years ago. We're going to touch it right now, though. Jabez was more honorable than his brethren. His mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bear him with sorrow. Come over here to John chapter 16. All these people rereading, they not of the house of Pharez. These just the families of Judah. None of these people who we reading after talking about a reptile, the father of Bethlehem, none of these are kings. They're not of the house of David. They're just of the families of Judah. Now, it's a separation from all. See, and Onan ain't had no kids. You know what I'm talking about? He killed them. Then he had 2. He already had the third son he was supposed to give Tamar to. Then he had Pharez and Zerah and another son. Hold on, let me get the name for you. You ain't got to do all that. Like now, see, Herzon is Phares' son. The royal bloodline comes from Phares and Herzon.
Yeah.
Y'all understand that? Y'all get that, right?
How they come from both of them?
Who that?
David. I thought David came from.
David come from Phares.
Right.
Hezron is Phares' son.
Okay, yeah.
And that's why I was telling y'all before, there's a Hezron who is a son of Reuben. So you're going to see 2 Hezrons. And if you see Reuben, that's not the one. Hezron, son of Phares, son of Judah, mother who is Tamar. That's who the seed of David comes. Remember, all we talking about is from getting from Abraham to David in the 14 generations. And we got to talk about everything that pertains from Abraham to David. That's why we stop and talk about this here, because the next thing we're going to talk about is from David to Babylon. So what we're really doing, we still talking about these genealogies, but we're doing something we did previously. Some of y'all remember where we went through and looked at the entire history of every king through the house of Yasharal. Remember, we looked at the majority of the genealogies. Well, we're doing it again, but specifically in this time period. For those of you who don't recall, it tells you in Matthew 1 that there was 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 generations from David to Babylon, and 14 generations from Babylon to Mashiach. 42 generations total. And we're looking at everything in between that got you to them generations. We started Wednesday looking at from Adam to Abraham, not counting the generations, just getting us to Abraham. Now we got to Abraham. Now we got to look at David. You know what I'm talking about? Because remember, them genealogies in Matthew 1 is dealing with the covenants to Abraham and David. Then when you go to Luke, you see that it's dealing with the genealogy of David and then transition to get you to Adam. I actually took this time this morning to do some research and look up some things, and I found the individual who created the doctrine of that genealogy was Joseph and Mary's. It was a Greek so-called theologian of Christianity by the name of Eusebius, 314 AD. Hold on. Yes, it's spelled Eusebius, but it's pronounced Eusebius. Eusebius Pamphlet, an historian of Christianity, a Christian polemicist. He became the bishop of Caesarea Maritima about AD 314. He was a scholar of biblical canon and is regarded as one of the most learned Christians of his time. He is the individual who came up with that doctrine that those genealogies belong to him. Traditional scholars, starting with Eusebius, put forward various theories to seek to explain why the lineages are so different, such that Matthew's account follows the lineage of Joseph, while Luke's follow his legal lineage through his biological uncle via Levite marriage. Mathon, whose descendants traced to Solomon, begat Jacob. Mathon dying. Mathon, whose lineage is from Nathan by marrying the widow of the former, had Heli. Hence, Heli and Jacob were brothers by the same mother. Some critical scholars like Marcus Borg and John Dominic Crosand claim both genealogies as inventions to bring the Messianic claims into conformity with Jewish criteria. However, it is not unusual since eights of genealogies often skip generations that are not of particular interest to the topic at hand. And that is accurate. And that is accurate that you will see genealogy skip that do not matter to what they're discussing. Because you could kind of even see that in what we're looking at in here and talking about Judah. They skipping people.
Real close from
skip them because it's irrelevant. These people don't matter to what we're talking about. See, but they try to make it seem, but right, I did see something this morning where there was a Christian group that understood that the Luke genealogy was to tie you to Adam. You know what I'm saying? They did understand that. But most people can't explain these genealogies, so look what they say. Oh, they're trying to make it fit Jewish conformity. For what? Why would they do that? How does that benefit the writer? Doesn't benefit the writer. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at it because at the same token, these your ancestors, it would behoove you to understand these things as it relates to certain people who are mentioned, that there's something actual footnote mentioned about them. Like how you see it mentioned, the father of Bethlehem, it would behoove you to know who is that and why is that important. And then you see why it's important, because Rachel died giving birth to the son of my right hand in Bethlehem. Now you understand why Mashiach is born in Bethlehem, because it's the place of fruitfulness, because the beginning of fruit was started in Bethlehem. You know what I'm talking about? It's not just something random and nothing, because of course he would need to be born in Judah, because he chose Judah. He chose a city in Judah for him to be born. He chose a city in Judah for him to die. That's why we looked at, he took Jerusalem. He took Mount Zion. He said this is the city of David because this is the Mount Zion, which Yahudah. That was Psalm 78 say. So that's why we looking at, like, this is not just stuff to just random, oh, look what you know. This is for you to understand when you read something. This is why this is there. This is why this is mentioned. This is why this person has a reasoning. That's why we looked at Nashon. He is a prince. He's the first prince in the house. And he comes from Pharez. That is the first ruler, and what would end up being the royal line in Judah is Nashon. Because Pharez didn't rule. Hezron didn't rule. Ram or Aminadab didn't rule. but Nashon did. Now, Judah had 2 other sons that could have been princes, but they came for Perez. And that's why we went back and look at Ruth, because you seen Perez mentioned again in regards to Boaz, who is the kinsman redeemer, because it's showing you that the redeemer is coming through David's line. Everything is showing you that everything is going to come through David's line. That's why it's important for you to understand from Abraham to David and the 14 generations in between. Because then once we get to David, then we have to deal with the captivity part, the spiritual implications that go along with the captivity part. And then when you get to Mashiach, of course, you're going to see the freeing from the captivity part. And then we can be completed. And you understand the relevance of why that's mentioned. That's why we're focusing on this here, because we read it, but you need to know why it's mentioned. It's not just mentioned just to say it's 42 generations. You would need to understand everything as it relates to get you to those generations, to get you to the man who would eventually give you everlasting life. And again, also dealing with stuff that we know that most brews. That's why I say I found that funny when Pastor Brown said that most brews don't go through Psalms because Psalms is long. Most brews don't go through Chronicles and Kings because it's long. You know what I'm saying? So that means you have to be in depth and you have to dedicate an extended period of time to doing it. And most people are lazy. You already know we've been in the book of Psalms for months. We was in the book of Proverbs for a year plus. You know what I'm saying? It take a long time. And people don't want to do that because people want, something provocative that gets the people going. But you want to have wisdom and understanding. Also because it allows you to identify markers of those who belong to your family lineage and those who don't when you go to dealing with the beast and those who serve him. That's the main part, truth be told. You know what I'm talking about? You'll be able to identify the markers of your family. Can't fool me, nigga. You ain't my people, nigga. No, some people don't want to go through all that because they feel like, nigga, that John take too long. I don't care. But guess what? Come over here to Numbers 26 while it's on my brain.
Quiet. Sit down.
I think we read Numbers 26 last night, but I'm going to hit it again.
But I said, don't get up.
26 and 19. Did we read Numbers 26 and 19? I can't.
I said, be quiet. You better got hit. Your face dropped. Be quiet.
Numbers 26 and 19. The sons of Yahudah, Onan. And Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Yahudah after their families. And this is Shelah, the family of the Shelonites, of Perez, the family of the Perezerites, Zerah of the family of the Zerahites. And the sons of Perez were of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites, of Hamul, the family of the Hamulites. These are the families of Yahudah, according to those that were numbered of them, 16,500. Notice who he focused on when he's talking about of the families of Yahudah. Yeah, we mentioned all them, but it is Perez and Hezron that are important. They didn't run down the sons of the other men. Of course, and Onan ain't had no sons. So it's only 3 that had sons, that had any offspring. Shelah is the one that he's supposed to marry Tamar. Don't talk about Zerah's offspring, only mentions Hezron. Hezron is the firstborn son of Perez. Yeah, John 16 is forth with that sorrow for and Hezron name means surrounded by a wall. So you're looking at somebody who is surrounded with protection. And it's also a city in Judah. Not Hebron, but Hezron. It's also a city. But John chapter 16. Shoot, Saran, that's just be loose cooches, man. Saran say, how pee all over the seat. How can you not hit the target in a 10 by 12 inch hole, especially when you're sitting on it? But they miss it.
Squat.
Huh?
They said they squat.
That is factual. A lot of them say they do squat. A lot of them hoes ain't squatting. Oh, got loose bowels. 16 and 20. That is a fact. A lot of women ain't sitting on no public toilet. Huh? Y'all sit on public toilets? Look how she just crowned her face. See, you know what a man gonna do? A man gonna rap it. He gonna rap it because ain't no squatting over no toilet to take no dump. You know what I'm saying? He gonna rap it. You know what I'm talking about? See, jailhouse, they call it bear bowling. See, he ain't gonna bear bowl it. That's why you'll see dudes in jail, they'll take them flip-flops, set them on the seat, and that's how they take a dump. And they got stainless steel seats, and they like they sitting on porcelain. That's how they do it. They don't do that. Them boys take 3-layer minimum, back of the toilet, side of the toilet, sit on down. They still might put the slides on the seat then. Because, hey, the man, to extricate your bowels, boy, you got to be comfortable. All that time, no, ain't nobody got time for all that. I just don't y'all know y'all not professional poopers. You know what I'm saying? That boy said a gasket and a splash pad. What else do? Hey, that's what you know. They give you the seat covers in some places. You know what I'm saying? But that's not effective. They don't work.
I'm supposed to put the rip part supposed to go in the front now.
That's what they say, but they don't stay in place. So you just go ahead and you roll with the toilet. You go with you know what works.
Until you put the rip part.
That ain't too thin. That ain't no protection.
You're supposed to really protect you from touching it.
And it's a public spot. They got plenty. See, you supposed to check the toilet paper before you sit. You know what I'm saying? But shoot, I ain't gonna lie, boy. I like to say because some of the boys be like, boy, I got a doodle, boy. Take me over here, boy. We be working. Boy, if I'm near Muffin House, if I'm near my house, boy, plenty of time. I let them boy. I'm gonna go to the house, boy. I use the bathroom, boy. I'm gonna go to the toilet that knows me.
You can find your nice little hotel.
I'm gonna go to the toilet that knows me.
That's the best bath you gonna get.
That boy around here, boy, that's how you know you were living hood. That boy say he's stopping at the hotel. Nigga take him a
Really, that road trip chronicles. You're on a road trip, hit the hotel real quick, handle your business.
He put me on something.
Yeah.
Look at him. He said, I'm going to that next week. 16 to 20.
You still probably got a layer, but it's a little more comfortable.
You know what's crazy though? Niggas will go to a hotel and don't lay in the toilet. Niggas go right in there and bare bowl.
In the actual room?
In the actual room. That's your room.
Shoot. I might. In the actual room? I get comfortable.
He get comfortable, huh? Niggas say I done paid for it.
Hopefully they clean it. If I'm laying on these sheets, I might want to sit on the toilet.
Hey, that's the I'm trying to tell you. You gonna get them them sheets, but you gonna sit on the toilet. You gotta work time with the sheets and the blanket in the toilet. Nigga come back with bed bugs, and nigga say, but shoot, the toilet ain't getting it. Shoot, that's why I always done bare boat. I'm getting up under these doggone sheets, using another nigga towel. Shoot, might as well be at home with it. I got another nigga rag. Shoot, we at home now. John 16 and 20. Truly, truly, I say unto you, that you shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice. You shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remember no more the anguish for the joy that a man is born into the world. And you now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again. And your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man take from you. Now, of course, he's telling them like, hey, all you women in here know you in great pain, had much sorrow. But when that baby was born, that sorrow went away. The same way that Yahudah had great sorrow in the midst of him getting ready to be born or to give birth. But when after he resurrected, that sorrow went away. Come back to 1 Chronicles 4. We're going to get ready to wrap this up. We almost at 2.5. We might even just need to save Jabez for the next go-round. Dang, this junk just jumping everywhere. That junk going everywhere but chapter 4. I said Jabez was more honorable than his brethren. We know that Yahushua is more honorable than his brethren. That takes us also back to Joseph and his brothers. But we'll deal with that more in depth with Yahudah willing on Wednesday. His mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bear him with sorrow. Jabez called on the Elohim of Yasharal, saying, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my coast, that your hand might be with me, and that you would keep from evil, that it may not grieve me. And Elohim granted him that which he requested. Notice, I'm going to end with this point here. What did he request to happen to keep him from what? Evil. Now look at what the Lord said in John chapter 17. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot for it. John 17 and 14. Jessica says she hates public bathrooms, and the girls hesitate to ask because they know how I feel about it. Shoot, one thing about it, you can hate it all you want, nigga. I gotta go. I ain't finna. You want me to pee and boo boo on myself because you don't like it? Shoot, you gonna like it today? You know what I'm talking about? Especially if I got the boo boo, mama, you gonna have to make a move. If you don't make a move, it's finna move. John 17 and 14. Matter of fact, make it 12. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in your name. Those who you gave me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now I come out of you, and these things I speak in the world, that they may have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I've given them your word, and the world have hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. That wild. I pray not that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil. That's that not what Jabez just asked for. And see, we'll focus in on that. Who are winning on Wednesday? He said to keep him from the evil. I give you the doggone definitions for it before we slide up off here. Now, to keep here is asad, and y'all know that is to fashion, accomplish, to make, to work, to produce, to press, to squeeze, to bring about, to appoint, to ordain, to institute, to put in order, to act with effect. And of course, you know, Ra is disagreeable, evil. So it was asked that he would be with them to fashion them from being disagreeable, or to keep them from those who are disagreeable. And of course, we're talking about disagreeable to Yahudah. And you see that Yahushua prayed for the same thing for his apostles, and also anyone who would believe on him through the word of his apostles. That they would be, because see, he ain't gonna pray for you to take you out of the world, but just keep you from evil. See, keeping you from evil is not just, it's of course the same thing he prayed, pray that you don't be led into what? Into temptation. Not because like this here, right? Because he understands, well, you flesh and blood, you butt dust. So he don't want to lead you into something, because that's keeping you from evil. See, that's what go back to I told you earlier. If that man give you everything you want, he ain't keeping you from evil, because some of the things you want is evil. You know what I'm talking about? The thing is, you don't realize it's evil till you get it. Boy, it's a lot of people, boy, they really wanted that woman real, real bad. They said, I'm going to take that nigga, take her from that nigga too. And now look what you got, what you want. Now you're crying every night in your bathroom in the shower. Your life miserable. You know what I'm talking about? She like, I don't need that man. I'm going to leave him. Now look at you. You would long meet Willie, but Willie ain't getting no bread. Willie beat you up every night, talk to you dirty, don't care nothing about you.
In that type of scenario, you be spared the nigga you took him for. He got away free.
He's got spared. See, that's what sometimes people be looking like, oh, I dodged the bullet. Shoot, you were the bullet. You know what I'm saying? You thought that person was the bullet, but you was really the bullet that was gonna shoot them. He got you away from them. Because that's what he mean by Of course, he know how to deliver the righteous out of temptation. He know how to get the righteous up out of a situation because he know you human. So sometimes you'll stay in something a little longer than you ought to stay in it. See, if you please him, he'll spare you. If you don't, he'll kill you. That's why he say, I find more bitter than death the woman, because her hands are like snares and nets, and her heart's like bands, and he that please Elohim shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. See, that's a hard one. I didn't tell you that before. I mean, the first time I read it, I said, well, that's tough. That man say he find more bitter than death the woman. That's tough. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about that's tough. That's tough. And then when you go to thinking yourself, if you ever dealt with a woman, see, women don't understand what it's like to deal with a woman till they become a lesbian.
I've been seeing that on YouTube. I'm really dealing with a woman, talking about a long-term relationship with a woman. But I want to kill you. So. I'm
telling you. See, because y'all have a lot of stuff going on as friends, but you ain't really dealing with that woman. Women, I done met lesbians who done said it out loud. I done seen it on videos. They was like, I don't see how y'all niggas do it. I knew a lesbian that went back straight because she was like, I just didn't want to deal with women anymore. See, y'all have no idea what it's like to deal with a woman. Y'all think, we ain't that bad. The hell you say? Why you think niggas die first? Why you think men die first? They be like, shoot, to get the hell away from you. All seriously though, boy, y'all stress niggas out. That's why niggas be smoking and drinking. Do you know what I'm saying? If a man say he tired, well, that man tired, boy. That man tired, boy. I seen that dude, the dude that be doing the karate, the black dude. I don't know his name. You know what I'm saying? But he was. No.
Yeah.
He teach the little boys, man. You know what I'm saying? Had a little boy. You know what I'm talking about? He was talking about that. I seen the dude. He older dude, man. Bald headed cat. I can see his face, but I don't remember his name. But he was talking about something, right? And of course, we done had a conversation before about why is it that, and I'm talking about this is in every country. This is not an American thing, that men commit suicide at a rate 3 times higher than women in every country on the earth. And it's just because on the fact of there's not spaces where men can express themselves. See, I was talking to Christine about this the other day because she was like, I want a man to open up to me. No, you don't. What you want him to do that for? Because you're not going to be able to handle what he's feeling. Because most of us know you're going to throw it back in his face. You're going to call him names. You're going to disrespect him. You know what I'm saying? So dudes keep it to themselves. And that junk eats away at the soul of a man. I'm telling you, that's why dudes put bullets in their head. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to tell you. See, y'all just don't know. Like, y'all sit back and y'all chit chat and pity pat with each other, but y'all ain't really trying to come up with no solution. Y'all not. See, the difference is y'all not gonna shame each other if y'all got emotional turmoil talking to one another. But a man could be shamed by men and women. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a possibility if he say what he feeling, that he's going to be shamed by men and women. So they just keep it to themselves. And then that junk just metastasize year after year after year. And you wonder why dudes killing themselves. Because y'all don't even know. And therefore, that's just selfish. But you just had no idea. Yeah, it is selfish. For them, because you're not dealing with what they're dealing with. You know what I'm talking about? It's real easy for a nigga to say that who ain't dealing with it. Because at the end of the day, don't nobody give a damn about a man and what he feeling and what he dealing with. Nobody really don't care. What does a man get told? Nigga, you better make something happen. That's it. And he was mentioning what he was talking about was the advent that a man doesn't have the opportunity to just be a human being. Because I remember some lady asked about if a man did this, what does that make him? And I'm like, baby, that make him human. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, niggas cry. Niggas get upset. Niggas get discouraged. Niggas doubt themselves. Niggas, all that type of stuff happen every day. But guess what? He can't tell you that. Because guess what you going to do? You going to run back and tell your homegirl, man, this nigga told me he doubting himself. I think I made the wrong decision, girl. I need to get me another man. That's what's going to happen. And the minute he piss you off, you going to tell him with your scary behind. You don't believe in yourself. Oh, nigga, that's what's going to happen. And y'all laugh about it, but it happens more often than not, unfortunately. Because y'all, I told you last week, y'all are not merciful creatures. And you're spiteful by nature. So the minute that man makes you upset, you're looking to do whatever you can do to injure him greater than the level that you perceive that you were injured. And that's how man deals with man, is forth is how Yahudah say you ought to operate. Because if a man get offended, he's seeking to hurt that man at a level greater than how he was hurt. That's why you see them nigga killed that nigga in front of that cooking stove. Whatever perceived offense that they believed that he committed, they felt like the only thing that they could do, let me kill him. You know what I'm talking about? That'll hurt him because he hurt my pride. He said my homeboy was a hoe. He said this, that, there, and the third. It's the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? And that's not how men behave. Men supposed to be merciful and compassionate creatures. That if you say you a son of Elohim, that's why they discourage you from talking about turning the other cheek and being merciful. See, these boys want you to be the devil and go to hell.
Yeah.
Well, praise the Lord. Sean said they took him up out that work situation he had, got a new job. I'm trying to tell you, the Lord get you up out of there. Because what situation he talking about, he already know you're going to beat somebody up. Something going to happen. He ain't going, but if he fool with you, he not going to, because he already know, he ain't going to look at you and be like, you shouldn't have did it, when he already know what you were going to do. And you ain't trying to do it. I wasn't trying to beat this nigga up, but now I got to cut it. So let me go and get you from up out of there. And you ain't got to worry about it. Well, hallelujah for y'all who's trying to work, man. I appreciate y'all time this evening. Bless y'all the house of Elohim. You who are willing, man, we'll keep this rolling on Wednesday. We getting close to wrapping this matter up. We might use another verse because I don't like to have anything past 10 parts, truth be told. You know what I'm saying? We might use another verse, but still be on the same topic. Yes. So, you who are willing, to the next one. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Continue to stand firm on the salvation of Elohim and until the next time. Oh, that's a good thing right there, boy. Because I knew that was going to end ugly. I ain't going to say that.